my lawyer?
Says here you, robbed a hospital? Why'd you do that?
Yeah, I'm not guilty.
That's not what the other lawyer said.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Law-Splaining the Interwebs. I'm your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. And with me today is a very special guest, returning as champion of something, Mr. Ty Beard.
Howdy. Very special.
Very muted entrance from you.
I'm
I gave you all kinds of energy, and all I got was howdy.
Yeah, all I got was this shirt.
Very special.
I'm getting some kind of weird feedback on my system, Nick. Something has gone horribly wrong.
That's your racism.
Yes, no doubt. Let me see here. Let me get my spectacles on so I can actually see what the hell I'm doing.
Oh my God, this is horrifying.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I can hear you just fine. Now I can hear
you.
an echo. You changed to speakers.
Okay, how am I now?
You have not changed your microphone, so your mic is good. I can hear you just fine.
Okay, maybe I was just confused.
You are confused.
No, there's like some kind of talk one more time.
Okay. How about now?
Okay, well, I don't know what it is. We'll just have to deal with it.
What's going on? Can you describe the symptoms, sir?
When
Mr. President.
When I talk, I hear an echo. Make any sense?
Is the just question to the chat, is there an echo coming through when Ty talks to you guys? I don't know how we can discern that.
I think it's fine. Golly, wonder if it's my microphone, perhaps. Yeah.
Okay, so the chat doesn't hear the echo. It's just you.
It's just me. Well, no doubt I am in serious mental distress, but that's okay because I am here to prosecute crimes tonight. So
yes, we have here. Let me try one thing. Mm-hmm. Did this change anything?
Let me see. Yes, it did. Wow, what'd you do? I
turned off the automatic echo cancellation for you. Now, the thing is, I get a little bit of background hum now, but I think it's bearable.
Well, is the stream hearing it? Because if they are, you can turn it back on.
I mean, it's like the lowest rumble of white noise ever, and since white noise is the most offensive noise,
racist.
But,
yeah, that's racist noise. We can't have that. Yeah, voices are talking to me. They're telling me all kinds of things. So,
well, that's okay because we know that voices are telling the president things too. Like,
yes.
Stop saying that. Stop saying that. Cut him off.
Yeah. How embarrassing is that to have your microphone turned off when you're the president of the United States by your own people? Yeah,
some insubordinate actually is more powerful than you because he has a button.
Well, don't you think that Dr. Jill Biden has some input on that?
I would fire everybody.
God.
I would fire
the president.
I would fire Jill Biden.
Dr. Jill Biden.
I mean, kind of.
Sure. Yeah. But yeah, we're here tonight to. You're going to be the judge of the court, I think. Is that our plan? I shall be the prosecuting. Yes. I shall be the prosecutor.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a case before the Rackets court tonight. We're going to be putting Paizo Games on trial for crimes against
crimes
wokeness.
Against humanity. And, yes, violations of the woke statutes. And please turn up volume for Ty. Okay.
Oh my God!
Is this on my microphone? Is that better? Is that better?
No, hold on.
Bueller.
I'll get you.
Okay, Bueller.
You won't be able to control it because Streamlabs or StreamYard has built-in audio balancing. So I've got you now. I boosted you quite a bit.
How's that? Is that good? Ah, yes. The stream approves.
Okay.
I like to think of the stream as the court reporter. You might say. Yes.
Yeah, and with as much loathing and disdain as the court can muster for the court reporter. So anyway, Paizo. Paizo is a game company. They are most famous for the Pathfinder game, which they took entirely from Dungeons and Dragons. They just looted it and then modified it themselves because, to be fair, Dungeons and Dragons went from a good edition in third to a bad edition in fourth.
Yes. Yes. There was a time, I've been told, where Paizo was outselling Wizards of the Coast during the dark, dark times of 4th edition. Yes, Gandalf, 3,000 years ago, I was there when 4th edition came out. Yeah. You know what? No, there is no jury. I'm sorry. That we're doing this under the rules of woke procedure. There's no jury. The judge simply determines, and really the law has already determined the guilt. We just have to go through the forms.
Right. This is the court of woke. I am the judge of woke, and Ty is the prosecuting attorney of woke. And so, as you know, how woke court goes is you don't get a defense attorney.
No, we don't bother with that senseless due process bullshit.
I mean, the chat can be the jury, but I am the judge.
Right.
And so I will disregard the jury as necessary for the purposes of woke.
I think the only juries you're allowed to pay any attention to are Twitter juries. But the woke can certainly the woke can be amicus juries.
Yeah, that's fine. Where their opinion ultimately doesn't matter if the court doesn't want it to. Perfect. I like this thing.
Right.
I like this thing.
Yeah, and I guess it should be established too, Your Honor, that we will be working under certain woke statutes, but there are those in the chat who may try to correct our factual assertions. Don't waste your time. We don't actually know a lot about this subject, but we're not required to under the rules of woke.
Correct.
In fact,
we know literally nothing about it.
Yeah, if we even know what Paizo is, we have already exceeded the requirement of knowledge for woke law. Paizo, they did a fantastic thing with Pathfinder, because what they did is they kept 3.5 in print and made a ton of money while D&D just crapped the bed.
Right.
But Paizo has fallen apparently. Now this is what I've been told. By folks, but what I've been told is Paizo has fallen from its lofty perch. Once they were the second largest game company, and there was a considerable gap between them and number 3, Wizards, of course, being number 1. But they had a very ill-received second edition. They made one of the classic blunders. The first being, of course, never get involved in a land war in Asia, but they came out with a second edition of Pathfinder after they had assured their fan base that would never happen. And even worse, the second edition apparently was not very compatible. And Paizo had put out just a kiloton of stuff. And you're telling people who have spent maybe thousands of dollars on your books, okay, now it's time for you to rebuy all that stuff for our second edition. With role-playing games, that's the thing, right? Backward compatibility is something you really should strive for. At least what I call interoperability, which is, okay, fine. Maybe the mechanics change, but here are conversion mechanisms that are solid and do a real good job. Second edition D&D is a really great example of how to do it right. I mean,
but see, third edition by extension is terrible in that that measure, right?
Yeah, it is. It is. But remember, at that point, the company had been sold. And they weren't making any bones about it. And the fact of the matter is, it's relatively compatible. That's probably correct.
2 to 3 is tough.
Yeah,
2 to 3 is really tough because you switch Thaco. The hit bonus thing is, the base attack bonus and bonus to hit gets crazy.
Feats and all that bullshit, and nothing like that really appears, in second. So
right, and nor does it in fourth. Like fourth was a big change away from third. And third and a half. And see, so that's what's interesting to me about Paizo is because you take the failure of third and a half edition D&D switching to fourth, and then you just make a bunch of money off of their failure, and then you replicate it like, oh, we'll do a second edition. No, don't do it.
Yeah, so Paizo was an extremely, they were a pretty heavy company in the day, but they have fallen from their lofty perches. And again, what I'm relating is innuendo and what I've been told. I'm not vouching for this, but my understanding is
I'm vouching for it. It's a billion% factual because this is the woke court.
Because it's the woke court, right? It's just whatever we feel is correct is correct. But apparently Paizo is their wokeness is a centerpiece of their whole marketing strategy. I mean, they have been explicitly the wokest of the woke, woker than thou. And they've got some real pieces of work that work for them that I have no particular use for. And we'll get into that once I present my case in chief. But Paizo has some other, interesting things. I've been told that Paizo pays its people very, very poorly. That they pay their regular employees less than other game companies pay freelancers.
Ooh.
They don't pay anything like a living wage in Seattle. And their employees, it's, apparently, again, I've been told these things, that their employees are stacked up in some really, really low class, nasty apartment complex because that's all they can afford. Yet the owner of Paizo has one of the largest Star Wars memorabilia collections in the country. So she apparently did okay. But, that's always the case, isn't it? Every time you peel the drapes back on any of these woke companies or woke organizations, you find this medieval feudal society where there are a few wealthy lords and everybody else is treated like crap. Which, it's obviously why lefties always, assert that, that's the case in regular business. I can't imagine treating my employees the way I've been told Paizo treats its employees. Tweets its employees. That's anyway. So they're a scoldy company. They're a woke company, and their people have never hesitated to jump on the bandwagon to attack other people for being insufficiently woke. But tonight they are on the petard, as it were.
Well, and they will hoist themselves on it, I'm sure. They won't have a choice because woke court. But first, we do have a couple super chats to get into.
Okay.
And I've got get yourself some Sennheisers. These are Bang & Olufsen.
You guys can't make jokes while I'm drinking hot coffee. It's going to be embarrassing before the night's over. Try writing games on I thought it said Ty is writing games on a PDP 75. Okay, well anyway.
Oh. These are, get Sennheisers. These are Bang & First of all, what's funny? So they noticed that I changed headphones, right? Because I did like a 6-hour stream earlier today on the Kyle Rittenhouse hearing, which is a good stream. And I was wearing my other headphones, which started to add bad pressure to my ears after so long. And so the guy says, get yourself some Sennheisers. These are Sennheisers.
Aww.
I was wearing Sennheisers and I switched to Bang & Olufsen because they have this nice sheepskin leather that's cushy on my ear holes.
Don't you ever call me a nerd again. I mean, good grief. You're name-checking esoteric earphones. I mean, come on.
Look, I know your Radio Shack orange ear pods are really good and all.
These are now iconic, my friend. These are iconic. I couldn't change these if I wanted to. And I'll have you know they cost all of $12 on Amazon.
Well, these cost a lot more.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Business write-offs are amazing.
Super chats, I think, before we...
Yeah.
I can already tell this is going to be one of them nights. It just has that feeling.
No, we're not going a million hours tonight because I already went 6 hours earlier.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay. Andrew War Snowboard says 5 hours a day. How are all of you incels unemployed and not have 5 hours?
Well,
okay.
I don't know what to say about that.
I don't know.
ASMR or AMSR or whatever the hell it is.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, guys. One thing about this auto noise thing is I'm hearing a lot more stuff from my own mic than I normally do. So
see, now you're hearing stuff from your own mic. Yeah, you got some weird setup going on.
I don't know what I'm saying. Yes, it's very weird. It's a Yeti and a pair of ear things. Exactly the same setup I've had every other time.
Are your earphones plugged into the Yeti?
They're not. Yes, they are because they wouldn't work otherwise.
Well, I figure you could plug them into the computer. Like, don't change anything.
No,
I'm just saying that would be an alternative setup.
Yeah, they won't reach over there. The box is actually a fair distance away. So.
It's looking like notifications didn't go out. See, YouTube doesn't like doing multiple live streams in a day, so we'll see. I'm not surprised.
Would you at least show the graphic that my daughter actually labored on since you were tied up? I took the liberty of asking her to do us a graphic.
It was up at the beginning, but yeah. Okay. I mean, I can gladly pull it up.
I didn't see it.
Here, let's see. Just give me a moment, and I got it. Hold on. Here we go. This is the thumbnail that was used for the stream here. There we go. There we go. It's a little bit horrifying, but yes.
Well, that'd scare the hell out of me if I walked in and saw that.
Yeah, I'd pull out a gun and start shooting. So,
I mean, if you're watching the show, you did a great job.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that's not the issue.
Yeah, I wish that we could do justice to the image.
I would shoot at Ty on principle. Adrian Valladares. What was that?
No argument here.
Oh yeah. Adrian Valladares says 2 questions for both Nick and Ty. As someone who wants to write novels as a side gig / passion hobby, what sort of advice can you give to someone 22 years old like me on becoming a better writer? Well, very, very simple solution to that is write as much as you have time for. Like, just keep writing and writing and writing and writing and writing and writing, and things are going to be bad and it's going to be fine. But then, you might find something good in your writing. Have someone also who will read some of your stuff and enjoy it and whose opinion you trust. And which inherently means someone who doesn't watch anime. So you got to have someone who can measure the value of a literary work, not a piece of anime, which is going to have a different storytelling mechanism. Same with like video games, like, oh, video game stories, stop it. Don't even do it. We're not even talking about how inferior they are in general. I'm talking about the different mediums mangling the storytelling chops of those genres for what you're doing. If you want to write novels, have someone who likes novels read your pitches, basically. And then the final piece of advice is, once you do get a story, edit, workshop, and then hire an editor. It'll be worth all of the weight you can possibly put into it. That's my advice.
Yeah. It would be interesting to ask Brianna, my daughter, and Brittany. Brianna has her Twitch thingy, whatever you call those Twitch things, Unlikely Beard, and she occasionally fields questions, because she's got several novels. But I raised her and Brittany both. I taught them how to write. See, I wanted to be a writer, but it's hard work. And of course, as an attorney, we're actually, outside of best-selling novelists, we're probably the highest-paid writers in the country. But everything Nick said, I generally agree with. Thinking of kind of tactical things, try your best to adopt the old-school method of writing, which is get it down on paper and don't edit as you write. That's hard to do with word processors because it's just so damn easy.
Yep.
But there really is a lot to be said for first draft, second draft, third draft, and if you could discipline yourself to do that, I think your productivity would be increased. Do it every day. I mean, it's hard work. Get that first novel written, because if you can do that, you've done something that 99% of the people who claim to be writers and want to be writers have never done. Beware of groups of writers. It's nice to have people that are going through the same thing, but you wind up spending a lot more time talking about writing than actually writing. Those are just kind of my thoughts. Style books like Strunk and White, never a bad idea. The elements of style are real thin volume. You're writing fiction, so some of the stuff may not be directly applicable, but and read. I mean, read good writers. Pay attention to how they do things. And like Nick said, find people that will critique it and give you an honest opinion. It cuts both ways. You don't want somebody that'll be unduly harsh, but you also don't want someone that'll just tell you it's wonderful just because they don't want to hurt your feelings.
You need someone to tell you it's bad.
Yeah.
Like, not in a rude way.
Bad. It's going to be bad. That's the thing. Your first drafts will always be bad. I mean, everybody. I don't care.
Yeah, your dialogue's bad because it's you. It's you talking, and not everybody's you. So you need someone to come in and say, okay, this is fine for like this character and this character, but this character isn't really good. For example, like you, whoever you are not good at writing X race, X gender, like black woman, Mexican man, like, because you're not that. And so if you have a character that is diverse in some way from you, you're always going to run the risk that their stuff is going to be inauthentic. And it helps to have someone come in and spot that as an outsider, because when you read it, it's going to sound fine. It's in your voice. So that's what I'm saying with, you need an honest editor. Well, you need an honest feedback, and you'll need an honest editor at the end of the day. Yeah. But I agree with Ty. Don't edit as you go. Put the story down and go and workshop it on your own if you think it's worth workshopping. If it's not, write a new story. You've got more.
It, come back to it. Well, I liken writing to sculpting. That's really a good analogy, actually. You know, the sculptor starts with a block of marble or whatever, and they start and they make big gross chops, and they shape it into a rough shape. The sculptor doesn't stop in the middle and start polishing one little place to get. That's where the front of the nose is going to be, and so we're going to polish that real good, and then they go back to hammering. No, they do the big stuff, and then they do successively smaller and smaller and smaller. Writing, I think, works best when you do it the same way. It, you know, I've often wondered if it would be interesting. I'm not a natural type. Oh, learn to type. that's another thing. Explore the voice recognition stuff is off the charts now. In fact, Google Docs has a very good free voice to text. Pardon me, Mike.
You get COVID again?
Unfortunately, one of our staff today did get COVID. She had two false negatives, and the third was a charm, as they say. And
fun. Well, hopefully, I hope them a speedy recovery. Adrian Valladares also says, because of you, Nick, I asked my 37-year-old older brother to show me classic movies. We've watched all three Austin Powers. Well, the first one and second one were pretty. Well, the first one's great. The second one's pretty good. Third one,
I liked Goldmember.
It was okay.
Michael Caine, man.
It was okay.
You've got no chance. You don't even have a name tag. Why don't you just lay down? He's talking to a henchman.
Tropic Thunder, great movie. Rambo 2, great movie, and I love them.
Tropic Thunder, blackface a bit.
Very, very bad. That's not what he got in trouble for. He got in trouble for the full retard comment. That's what they went after him hard for.
Tropic Thunder is beyond awesome. It's just awesome.
Any good classics recommendations? Man, and any movie from the 80s. Just go watch Commando, Die Hard, Cobra, Rocky.
My girls showed me a film short called Kung Fury.
Yeah,
which is it's sublime. I mean, it's the 80s encapsulated into a 20-minute. It's got the cheesy 80s synthetic music. It's got the obvious, stuck a video camera on the computer screen to get the credits. It's just one. God, I miss the 80s.
Yes, and everybody should. The chat right now is unloading a bunch of good recommendations. So yeah. Listen to the chat; they are wise. Adrian Valladares also says, lastly, just because Ty is here, do a brief skit in Trump voice talking about Lemoyne. Then in Lemon's voice, do a brief skit talking about Trump. The term consulate must be used. Oh, man,
that's a hard ask.
So I was down in Texas the other day. Wonderful people down in Texas. Really terrific. Tremendous people. Lots of growth. Lots of people coming there. I'm not sure they're all welcome, but, some are coming from the South, and we want to curtail that. Some are coming from the West, and Texas wants to curtail them. But I met this individual there. He was a bald man, a little bit short, kind of wheezy. And he had this weird affectation to his voice, made it very unlikable. And I don't think he'll be successful. Probably won't. You'll never hear about him really outside of individual circles. And by individual, I mean the loneliest kind. And then I guess a quick rebuttal would be, I was looking for con sluts and all I found was a large orange man. but I was aroused, which hasn't happened in decades. So there you go. I hope that.
I'd say the chat got it. The super chat got its money's worth on that one.
I hope so. Okay, Richard Grubber says, in regards to the Netflix adaptation of Cowboy Bebop, would it be more true to the source material to cast Faye as Man-Faye? No. Too much talk about Man-Faye. I mean, just don't do it. Don't cast either of them. Agarlit says, has Ty ever been to Mount Doom? He looks really familiar.
Oh, that's the nicest thing anybody's said to me lately. Worse things than being compared to the Dark Lord.
Let's see. Vox Eterna says, Ty, about a week ago, you mentioned a good friend who's a lawyer and microbiologist. Do they happen to live in Oregon? Just curious, as I may know them too.
Sadly not. Well, I mean, not sadly. He's a very good friend. No, he lives in Dallas.
Yeah. Was I talking to you about that YouTuber, the YouTube couple, the van couple? Did I tell you about this? The girl's gone missing in the Grand Teton Mountains, and the guy. This just happened the other day, and the guy.
No, I hadn't heard anything.
Oh my gosh, this is like a big story right now. So there's this 22-year-old YouTube girl whose fiance is a 23-year-old guy, and they're doing this van life thing, right? Where they have like a Ford Transit modified van, and they drive around and blog their stupid life, right? And so they're in the Grand Teton Mountains at the end of August, and the last message they get from the girl is allegedly August 30th, but the parents don't believe it was actually her that sent the message. Anyway, on September 1st, so August 30th to September 1st, the guy shows up back in Florida with the van alone, and the girl is just completely missing. How murdered is she on a scale from 1 to Nicole Brown?
Oh God, yeah, that don't sound good. That don't sound good at all. Not to make light of the situation, but you do know what Grand Teton, translates to.
Yeah, Dolly Parton.
Big Tit Mountains. Yeah, I love Spanish.
Well, now the new thing is
Rio Grande, Big River.
So the new thing is, so the guy, he went back to Florida where his parents are, right? So he drove 2,500 miles in the span of 3 days. And he gets back to Florida, and then the family like retreats. They're not talking to anybody on advice of defense counsel, which is smart, except now it turns out that the guy is now missing.
Oh, he's legged it.
He's gone. He got smuggled out. That girl is, if he's not digesting her, I don't know where she would be. Like, I don't trust this guy at all.
There's no scenario where I think she turns up. Unfortunately, God, parent's worst nightmare.
Yeah. Oh, I hope that guy gets the death penalty. It's a federal murder if he did it, because he's he took her across state lines to murder her, presumably, because they've been traveling like across all over the place. And this is the bad thing for him. So she disappears in Wyoming, but the last time they were kind of seen together was in Utah, and they had a fight of some sort.
Oh,
and
so he could have killed her anywhere along the.
Yeah, he could have, but the interesting thing then is, I think that makes it a federal case, because I think
somebody's saying that they found a body, but they don't know if it's her or not. Well, they'll find out soon enough.
Yeah.
Twin Peaks comparison.
It's not good. Not good. I feel really bad for her family. Like, don't take my joking as not feeling bad for it. It's just.
Oh God, no. That's the worst. I mean,
the guy. That's a death penalty case. I don't care if he like left her out in the woods just to like leave and didn't kill her but let her die. I don't think that's the case. But if he did that, he deserves a death penalty too.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Just, that sucks.
Even if you've got a bad breakup, drive her to a hotel and then leave. I mean, Jesus.
Some of these bloggers. Did you remember that? I think they were British. The British couple that were roaming the earth like Kane and Kung Fu and blogging and going places. And the woman was somewhat hot, or at least, and they certainly exploited that as much as they could. They did any number of bikini shots of her and stuff. And these idiots went to Iran, fucking Iran. And guess what happened? They wound up in prison in Iran because they had a drone that they were flying around taking photography. And they were
Good plan.
talking about, the Iranian people really are misunderstood. They're wonderful people and yada, yada, yada. And, they were eventually sprung. The British government managed to get them out of there. But it's like, and I think they're back at it now. And it's like, go home and get a job. You people are too stupid to go out into the world.
Yeah, this girl was very pretty, very pretty, and yeah, it looks like, I mean, who knows what the situation is? I'm sure we'll never find out
that they can't hear me. I don't know if that's if my voice is actually naturally not projecting.
You are lower than normal today.
Yeah, let me see. Let me get closer. Is that better?
Yep.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah. I will attempt not to be so,
You're gonna have to kick up those energy levels, Ty.
Yeah. Well, we haven't gotten to the prosecution yet. I'm pacing myself.
I'm almost to the through the initial chats here. Mario Carter 13 says, as far as yearly bingo cards go, I did not have a space for Nicki Minaj fights the government to protect your testicles. And that's quoting Jim. Good job, Jim. That's very funny. Blaine 20 says, chat was discussing putting you and Ty on the Supreme Court. I've determined that you are not fit for the role, as you and your nose would take up 2 seats.
But I'm apparently fit for
really,
it, I guess.
Really racist on that one.
Is big nose is a protected class? I'm calling you big nosed.
I would hope not, because I'd have to play that clip from Roxanne.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
I did that the other day. We played that on stream because someone called me Big Nose. So I made the stream watch a minute and a half of Steve. No, not that one. The movie Roxanne with Steve Martin, where he's got the giant nose.
Oh yeah, the Cyrano de Bergerac. Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
and he does the 40 different Big Nose jokes.
Sorry, I thought you were about the Police song Roxanne.
No.
The Jose Ferrer's version of Cyrano de Bergerac from the late 40s is really good too.
I read the original and it's great just by itself. Yeah. The Denialist says 4th and 5th edition D&D suck. I like 5th. I know a lot of people don't, but I like it.
I think 5th is the best since 2nd. I do think it's better than 3rd and 4th. And it could have been as good as 2nd. But apparently gaming tastes have changed,
Yeah.
So
I like 2nd edition too. Third gets really, really mathy.
Well, 2nd is basically just AD&D really cleaned up and organized. Now, once all the stupid splat books started coming out, it got a little bit flaky. But the basic rules are AD&D just reorganized.
Capricious Tyrant says, hail Nick and Ty, partaking of Redemption Rye tonight. Not a bad drink. Mm-hmm. I am beginning Operation Lazarus, an effort to restore my father's 65 Ford Galaxy 500.
That's badass.
He dated my dearly departed mother in that car. Wish me luck. Good luck, man.
What a great way to spend time.
Yeah. If you know how, I would do terrible at it. I would hate it. Bad Vibe says, this is why I enjoy Palladium games, Rifts, Heroes Unlimited, Robotech, Mechanoids, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They can all be converted and share the same stat/skill system.
I remember when the Palladium. I remember when the Mechanoid Invasion came out. Those little thin books. The guy the Kevin Zambita, is that his name? He's a very talented black and white pen and ink artist. Very talented. I think he was a bit litigation happy at one time, but the Palladium did some really good. I never personally cared for the system, but the materials, I owned a lot of it just because it was really great source material. And they had a book on weapons, castles, and contemporary weapons, which were, probably today they're not as useful because you have the internet. But back in the 80s when we didn't have the interwebs, they were extraordinarily useful works for me, reference works. So yeah, Palladium's good stuff.
Marty Lund says 13th Age by Pelgrane Press is the best post 3rd edition D&D successor game. Complexity options scale from original D&D to 5th edition. No feat madness, no Vancian pyramids, less pedantic simulation, more role-playing, stunts, combats, and ploys.
What is it, 13th? I think I've got that somewhere. I've got way more crap than I'll ever read. What
13th Age.
13th Age.
Yep.
Nick, this is what we call a pen. I don't know if you've
I've never heard of one.
Yeah. They're very extraordinary devices. They actually record things without requiring electricity.
Yeah, but do they record anything other? Do they require anything other than the pen?
Well, paper. I mean.
Oh, well, what is this? That's garbage.
Well, it's old tech. It's old tech. Oh, by the way, I got something really cool I want to show you.
Oh, what is this?
Yes. Look at that. Yeah, baby. See,
why do you have that?
Well, it's like Google Maps, only it's in paper, right?
Except it doesn't work.
Well, it works just fine. See, look.
Really?
See?
Pinpoint your location on it.
Well, I'd have to first go to the index to find where Tyler, Texas is, and then I would flip over to the pages. But you see, it's spiral bound, so it's really easy to flip
It looked
around.
real convenient while you were like, whoa.
Well, most of that's more an ergonomic issue with my setup here. I need to actually transfer my camera crap to my game room now. But
yes,
that's a whole lot of work.
So the question is, can you fit that thing inside of anything short of a full-size van?
Excuse me. There are certain portability issues with it, mainly because it's the big print version. And before you start laughing, that's fine. That's fine. Blindness is coming for you too.
That's not the big print version. All atlases are that big. All road atlases are that size.
I love paper maps. I always have, and I think I always will. And I was on Amazon, and Amazon pushed it to me, and it was like half off, and I went, oh, click.
There's a reason it was half off.
Yeah.
Okay.
The old ways are the best.
So let's get into this Paizo thing. Let's get into this Paizo thing. Can we well, okay, I'm going to call a court to session. I'm calling the court to session. As you know, I am Judge Rackets, and oh my God, I have chats from the earlier show that were in the that were sent by Streamlabs, which is unfortunate. So I'll have to read those.
Real men can fold a map.
I'll have to read those a little bit later. But as you know, this is the woke court, which means under the robes we are naked, but no one gets to know that. And we will always we will have to establish the rules of woke court very briefly. Okay, so this is a woke court, which means the words of women are true. The words
presumptively, conclusively true. They cannot be questioned.
Right. They cannot and will not be countermanded. And in the event that they are countermanded, the countermanding arguer is also going on trial. You cannot countermand a woman's words or statements. They are true. They will remain true, and this court will deem them as true and any other words as false. That being said,
Your Honor, I would, if I may, I would request a clarification.
Excuse me, if you're going to interrupt this court, I'm going to have to ask you to do it properly. There are people out there who have not quite. This is the proper way to gain attention. Please, it is not triggering to people with auditory issues. It is not disrespectful to this court.
Jazz hand kind of thing.
Thank you. Yes. Now you are recognized.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would like a clarification from the court. That therefore means that no evidence, no factual evidence will even be considered that contradicts what a woman says.
This court has no method by which to examine evidence, and you know this to be true, and you need to just go ahead and go back to being a prosecutor and allow me to explain the rules thoroughly.
Yes, Your Honor, I am thoroughly rebuked. My apologies.
That is as it should be, as you are a cis white male. There we go. Okay, now, as we are to understand it, cis white males are only recognized in this court for the purpose of delivering the words of non-cis white males. That is the only purpose that they have, and may God have no mercy on their soulless husks. Next, it must be reminded that counsel has just rudely overstepped the court in his imperialistic manner and stated that there is no method for reviewing evidence in this court. We will not be asking for evidence in this court. Again, the words of the accuser are sacrosanct, and we will take all of them as true. Thus, there is no need for an accused to have defense counsel, and therefore the court will act as the defense counsel for the accused by waiving all efforts of defense. Now, counsel, if you would like to begin, you may present your case in chief.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. May it please the court. This is actually a series of counts, and I would like to propose to the court that we kind of, after I give my opening statement, we just walk through the counts, and perhaps the court can rule, as on a per count basis, if that's okay.
I think we'll have no problem ruling immediately on all of these issues.
I tend to agree, Your Honor. So what has happened is Paizo apparently fired one of their customer service people. They had two.
Your counsel, I don't mean to interrupt your opening statement. I know that is an uncouth and unkind way to approach this deliberative process, but I must ask you to inform the court who Paizo is. As the woke court, we have no knowledge of any of these parties or what they are engaged in. So please briefly describe what a Paizo is, because I know what a paisan is, but I don't know what a Paizo is.
Well, and if the court would be so kind, I would ask the court to put it on the record that I don't know anything about this subject either, but that is not required by woke law.
Correct. It is on the record. You are recognized as having no knowledge of what you speak. Now, please speak authoritatively on the subject.
Your Honor, Paizo is a role-playing game publishing company known for its Pathfinder series of games. They, in particular, emphasize their commitment to diversity and to wokeness and to every idiot liberal theory that comes along the path. They apparently.
Excuse me. Please don't use ableist language like idiot in this courtroom.
Agreed, Your Honor. My apologies. Anyway, they are a role-playing game company, and they have been accused by a woman of all kinds of terrible conduct, and that's why we're here in your court this evening, Your Honor, to go ahead and prosecute this to the fullest extent of woke law.
Now, who is the what do they call them? Whoever runs the Paizo is. This is woke court. We don't understand business terms here, so
those are called presidents.
Okay, who is the president of Paizo? Is that the Trump guy that I've heard of so much about? Very unflattering individual.
No, Your Honor, it's not, and I'm not even certain that president is necessarily the title that person uses, but it is a person who identifies as female, apparently.
Well, we want to respect any identified pronouns.
Absolutely, and this person, although the company apparently pays its employees chump change, this person has managed to build a world-recognized collection of Star Wars collectibles.
Now, you said that this person
she's been profitable.
You said that this person who identifies as female. Since this is woke court and we have a progressive stack that recognizes power and privilege based on identity, I have to know, is this person a biological female or are they a much braver transitioned female?
I'm unsure, Your Honor. I don't know. That I'll have my clerk brief that and provide the court with that information within 24 hours.
All right, thank you. Thank you for that. It will be very important for the court to make decisions, because if there comes to be a dispute between, say, a cis white woman and a transgender brave woman, we have to understand that the transgender person's opinions will always outweigh the heteronormative person's opinions.
Yes, Your Honor. I believe that the transgendered people currently occupy the top position in the preference stack. However, jumping ahead, we won't have to deal with that tonight because there really aren't any disputes. This actually is getting more akin to a motion for summary judgment than an actual trial, because everything's proven by law, as a matter of law.
Yes, and that's what makes this court very efficient and effective.
Absolutely. Well, as Your Honor is fully aware, this due process stuff is just way too complicated.
Who has time for it?
Yeah. So anyway, so they lost a couple of employees on the one employee who was terminated, or they agreed to terminate their employment, or they agreed to leave, whatever. Apparently, she was called in. She was called in to work at the office, and there's no particular reason to do that since customer service stuff can be handled remotely. She declined on the basis of she was afraid of COVID. She didn't feel safe, and
that is perfectly reasonable and
Right.
100% supported by this court. COVID is the worst plague to befall humankind in the history of the entire earth, and therefore someone is fully within their rights and reason to not want to come in.
And that's the first count, actually, that they unlawfully terminated an employee who was afraid of COVID and did not, gave her no warning, gave her no benefits, gave her nothing.
Have they heard of the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control?
It's unknown, Your Honor.
While I'm asking questions, again, I am asking as their defense counsel in as much as it is needed. Have they heard of the sexiest man alive? I mean, we don't typically recognize cis white males, although the cis may be in question on this one. But
yes, Your Honor, I would actually contend that he is a garden gnome and not a human being. But this we're obviously.
I think that only raises his stature in my mind.
Yeah, I think so. If the court will bear with me, this is not a relevant issue because this is a strict liability offense. A woman accused them of doing this, therefore they did it. As a matter of law, the
interesting thing is, I of course agree with you.
Yes.
Right.
So no, I don't know these things, Your Honor, but I would like to go ahead and move that the court find them guilty on the first count of unlawfully terminating a female.
Oh, so this is actually a blatantly sexist move as well. A female being a protected class and the protected class of the default woke court. I find them guilty immediately. Yes, terminating a female is against all rules. Rules in all circumstances.
And in the interest of judicial efficiency, could we hold the punishment phase to the end after all counts, after the court has ruled on all counts?
Sure.
Okay. So a Jessica Price, someone who identifies as a woman, I believe, was an employee at Paizo for some time and left the company in 2017. After the customer service representative was terminated and her coworker resigned in solidarity with her, Ms. Price posted a series of allegations on Twitter, laying out an absolute horrific list of violations of woke law. And I would like to call to the court's attention that Ms. Price identifies as a woman, therefore she is a woman. And therefore, per the first woke statute, anything she alleges is conclusively deemed to be true.
I have to, one moment, counsel, I'm going to need you to verify something for me.
Yeah, sure.
As this has been partially briefed, I did have my clerk look up I just need to verify if this is the correct person. Is this Ms. Price?
I believe that is, Your Honor, yes.
I don't see how that face could tell a lie.
I didn't. Well, honestly, I'll be honest. I did not look at her because I did not want to, compromise the court by engaging in flagrant lookism.
Right. I would not want your male gaze to fall upon her. I wouldn't wish that upon her.
No, my status as a cis white male obviously puts me in a very precarious position, and I've attempted to maintain the dignity of this court.
Thank you. The court appreciates your humble efforts, as feeble as they may be, to uphold the integrity of this court.
I will assure the court that I can become even more obsequious as the night wears on.
Now, I must ask also, counsel, is this the same Jessica Price that previously worked for an organization that produced a video game named Guild Wars?
Yes, I believe.
Or Guild Wars 2, I believe.
Yes. If the court will indulge a slight digression,
I believe she's a frequent accuser and a frequent benefactor, I guess, contributor to the court.
She's definitely one of our frequent flyers. There's no question. She was part of this wave of, and now I am characterizing this for the court's benefit. She was part of a wave of women who swarmed into into the role playing space in the early aughts, alleging that role playing was misogynistic and all the normal blah blah blah.
Of course, she is correct, but go on.
Well, at that time, woke law had not actually been established, so we were in sort of a proto quasi woke space. But in any event, so the companies embrace these women. Many of them.
Hold on, counsel. I must briefly interrupt you just to remind you and any of the court's grand audience that though the woke rules had not previously been established, the way the woke court operates is similar to sorts of some sects of Mormon conversion theory, right? Once the woke court was established, it then proceeds forwards and backwards through all of time, and all actions are judged under the woke court as it stands today, because today is objectively the pinnacle peak of truth. And this is how we will apply these standards backwards, even though they may not have existed at the time. So I just want to be clear that though these rules had not been properly codified at the time that she was entering, the role-playing community was racist and misogynistic and bigoted as they are today.
Yes, I withdraw my statement and would ask the court to simply modify them on the transcript as appropriate.
Thank you, counsel.
Yes, in woke law, there are no protections for ex post facto laws. That's such a troublesome, dated, patriarchal concept. I also feel
anything in Latin is really, we're talking ableist. It is linguisticist, and it is frankly discriminatory to certain peoples who may not have had access to Latin.
I agree, Your Honor, and I would like to just go ahead and submit myself punishment later on after this hearing is over for using the term woman when birthing person is the accepted term both for now and the past and the foreseeable future until it changes.
Correct.
I would ask the court to indulge me, though, because I do use the word woman subconsciously, if the court would.
Well, as you are representing all women in this court, and as your words are only those words being recognized by the court or those of women being spoken through you, you are forgiven.
Thank you, Your Honor. Yes, so anyway, so Miss Price was part of that wave that swept in, and with very few exceptions, they turned out largely to be incompetent, lazy. They did not produce any sellable product for the most part. They swept into these companies and began to gripe and complain and find everything wrong that they could. In other words, they were absolute train wreck disasters as employees. Now, that is my opinion. I'm generalizing, but I've talked to any number of industry people, and that seems to have been the pattern. Much like I believe has happened in the comics industry, there does seem to be a pattern. Anyway, so Miss Price was part of that wave, and she basically swept into the companies that she worked for, caused them all kinds of chaos and carnage. And much like getting rid of a giant blood tick, you can't get rid of them very easily.
Well, they shouldn't be gotten rid of. They're beautiful creatures.
Absolutely. So anyways, but apparently, Miss Price and Paizo parted ways in 2017. So she has laid out just an absolutely horrifying bill of particulars. So we can start with the second count, which is creative staff was required to be active on Paizo forums. The executives were offended when the staff requested a block function on the forums, despite there being multiple user-created hacks to implement the function, and screamed at employees for pushing back against abusive customers. That's obviously a violation of woke law.
Of course.
The company is Miss Price is accusing the company of not letting her run customers off because they disagreed with her politically.
How could any company expect an employee to have to tolerate customers? I mean, this is insane.
I have to admit, I'm shocked. This is, and as the court is aware, I'm a pretty grizzled veteran of these wars. It takes a lot to shock me, but the idea that a company wouldn't let their employees abuse their customers. I mean, how retrogressive patriarchal is that?
I can't imagine any company that would not allow their own employees And allow is such an unfortunate phrase. It's very imperialist if you think about it, right? Like as if this company has ownership of a person.
I agree. As though the company can tell a woman what to do. I mean, it's horrifying.
Right. Very patriarchal.
I'm sure the court will determine if this particular cause of action needs to be broken up into multiple sub-causes. But I would like to go ahead and move that Paizo be found guilty of misogyny and racism and hate because a woman said they did not let them attack customers.
What I have to ask this is not a court of evidence as we have established, but is there a forum post or a blog or a tweet or an Instagram that has occurred accusing Paizo of these things?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, this was tweeted out.
Well, then they're guilty.
Tweets. Yes,
I don't even need to know. I just a yes or no was simple enough for this court, and as long as there is a Twitter record or a blog post or really any passing reference on a single Facebook page, no matter the size, that is sufficient for this court, and they are guilty. They are adjudicated guilty under the woke court.
Yes, and Your Honor, I would like to remind the amicus jury that hearsay is perfectly admissible in this court, and if it comes from a woman, is of course deemed to be completely truthful in all respects.
As only the accusing side gets to testify in this court, and the accused does not have a place because they are bigoted and horrible, we don't have to worry about the rules of evidence or any sort of those traditional patriarchal notions that a woman's word could be countered in the first place. So terms like hearsay don't actually exist in this court.
No, Your Honor, I was simply trying to provide context for the amicus jury.
Oh, thank you. Yes, thank you. That is it is important to remember them as at least by default some percentage of them are women and therefore important.
Yes, Your Honor. You're very welcome. Some of these causes will be relatively modest, and I'll group them into one kind of consolidated cause of action. The company is accused of writing a negative item in a performance review that Jessica Price was an advocate for employees more than the company, and that obviously
why wouldn't they see that? Right, well, I do not see how a company would see that as anything but good.
Yeah, they're attempting to oppress a woman, and so
did they provide her a bonus for her heroic actions?
No, the record seems to be pretty clear that they actually reprimanded her for not putting the company's interest above those of her fellow employees. And
that
again,
so
that
backwards.
It's obviously a grave violation of woke law for a company to actually look to its own profits and the best interests of its shareholders over the emotional desires of an employee.
Again, profits are a patriarchal, colonialistic exploitation of the resources of the important person who is the worker. The workers should be entitled to all of the capital revenue that comes back to a company. Profits should not actually exist because that is just a manifestation of the workers' work, and therefore as the product of their labor they should receive all of the fruits of it. Profit cannot possibly exist in this system.
Yes, Your Honor. No one could say it more brilliantly than you have, and I have nothing to add to that except I would just like to go ahead and move that the court find Paizo guilty of wanting to put their corporate interests ahead of those of a woman.
Yes, of course. Disgustingly guilty.
And this is a somewhat related cause of action, number 4. A woman has accused Paizo of attempting to hide employee turnover by promoting people internally or hiring people that they know instead of posting advertisements in the job market. Once again, we see the same. This is a version of the previous cause of action. How dare a company look to its own best interest? How dare it hire familiar people that it might have knowledge that can do a good job when a woman disagrees?
Right. Isn't there a list of approved women for them to hire?
This particular charge didn't get into whether or not the hirees were
no matter.
diverse.
Paizo is not only adjudged guilty of this immediately. I don't even need a further factual basis, but they are required to adopt Miss Price's recommendation for the women that they will hire, and they will simply go down the list without considering qualifications.
Yes, Your Honor, and if I could add, I think this next cause of action is going to be so deeply upsetting to the court that afterwards we may want to take a recess and take super chats. Of course, I'm not trying to tell the court its job, but I am an officer of the court, as you know. I'm not an. I'm not an.
The court will consider your request in kind.
Yes, I am your patsy. I mean, we know that. So this cause of action is just utterly horrific. It's so upsetting. I don't even know if I can get through it without crying. But once again, a woman accused them, and again, I have to remind the court this is conclusively presumed to be.
This is fact.
Yes, it is. The woman and someone else created a blind employment test for developers to reduce bias in hiring, and after the woman left the company, the design team no longer used the test and hired internally. Once again, we see this absolutely outrageous and horrific pattern of a company, putting its own interests ahead those of a woke woman. I mean,
well, not only that, this seems ableist of the company to deny the blind test.
Exactly.
I don't see why this company believes that a non-blind test would somehow be superior to a blind one, when we know that blind persons are inherently more important than non-blind persons. So to suggest that the blind test be abolished is to effectively genocide an entire class of people.
I couldn't agree more. How a company that prides itself upon being woker than thou could commit. And Your Honor, this is only, I mean, we are scratching the surface. Just wait. I mean, it gets even more horrible. I would like to move that the court find them guilty of failing to use the employment test that a terminated woman wanted them to use.
Right. This is, again, they are still ordered to go back to a list of women that are appropriate to be hired at Miss Price's suggestion, I'm sure. And that list will be followed on order of this court.
Yeah, with all due respect, Your Honor, I would submit that the court should rule on this as part of the punishment phase. And this is so upsetting to me that I need to go to a safe space where I feel secure. And I would ask the court for a recess in which we could do other things, because I'm just so upset by this.
Are you literally shaking right now?
I'm literally shaking now, Your Honor. Yes, I am.
The court will grant a brief recess. Yes.
Thank you.
Please cry. That is important to this court.
It's so upsetting. It's so upsetting.
This is the only proper way that men should act. Okay.
This is like our version of the screw tape letters.
Oh my goodness. Okay, we have some super chats. I actually have something a little bit different to do tonight. I'm gonna do something I don't do super often, but I'm gonna ask the chat for help on something.
Are you sure? I mean, is it really gonna come down to that?
Yes, but this is something different. Where is this thing?
I shall require weakness tissues for the eye liquid.
No, this is something different. Why can't I find it? I've got it somewhere. Hold on. Okay, look, I'll start telling the story, guys. Oh, it's in. That's why. Oh my God. Guys, I know someone. It's my aunt. Okay. My aunt is a great person to me. Always has been. I used to make cookies at her house as a kid. She has always had dogs, right? She's always had, well, I shouldn't say dog. She's always had a dog that has been a companion to her for a very long time. And she's looking for some help because she is I don't know if I want to call her a personal trainer, but she does sort of personal training, physical therapy type stuff for people. And COVID has been particularly rough on that profession.
Good grief.
So I'm going to pull up a GoFundMe here. I'm going to share it in the chat, and we'll take a look at it real quick. She has her companion is not doing so well, and needs some assistance. So, here we go.
Oh.
This is Sharon and Blueski's pop. This is Blueski. He is just a year-old pup, turned a year old a week ago, but has spent the last week in the hospital with no diagnosis. He's got, well, there's no diagnosis for him. So he's sick. He's been in the hospital for a while, trying to raise some money. Obviously some people have been contributing to this already. And I'm just going to ask for some help. And of course, you guys know, I don't ask for people to donate stuff unless I'm going to donate to it too. And this is one I'm definitely going to donate to. I can verify that it's real. It's for my aunt down in Texas. And like I said, this is hit particularly hard. The COVID stuff has hit particularly hard for her employment and stuff like that because of the nature of her industry. She has to be around people, and she's she's down in Austin, Texas, which makes it even tougher because of all the places to be. It's one of those. So, I'm going to go ahead and make a donation. I'm just, like I said, I've shared it in the chat, and I would appreciate it if the mods would share it a couple more times. And if you guys like dogs or have a couple bucks to spare, I would love it if you would kick some her way. I'm going to make the donation. I'll bring it back up and we can check on it a little bit later in the show. So, yeah. Oh, and make sure if you do donate to the GoFundMe, and I would recommend this for all the GoFundMes, turn the tip meter all the way to 0. Don't give any money to GoFundMe. Give all the money to the person that you're donating to. They'll be fine.
A tip for GoFundMe? They get their piece of the action.
No, they don't actually. They get they used to, and they got shut down on that. So what they do take is the processing fee for a credit transaction, but they are not allowed to actually, since it's a donation site and not a commercial site, they're not actually allowed to charge it as a matter of course, but they do have a suggested tip amount. I just recommend people turn it off, because I'm a jerk that way.
Yes.
But
you do your jerkiness at a high level.
I do.
No one can take that away from you.
Okay, so I'm going ahead and doing the donation for this right now. I'm just setting it up.
All I'll say, Your Honor, is wait till we get to some of. I led with some of the weaker tea. There's some good stuff in here.
We have more to go on this, huh?
Oh my God, homophobia, transphobia. We have swastikas. We've got dick pictures. it's.
Whoa! Why we can't have those in this courtroom?
Well,
that is unacceptable.
I'm just saying that there's going to be a ton of stuff here. And interesting enough, charges are coming in by text message as I speak. That's Oh, and of course we actually have some good old fashioned, almost quaint sexual harassment, just basic, bog standard sexual harassment, which is.
So here we go, guys. I have made my donation. It's right up here. So just so you know, like I said, I never ask people to donate stuff that I wouldn't donate to. And I always do make that donation and try to make it on stream. So again, if anybody has a couple bucks to spare, it would be very much appreciated. I know these times are, tough on everybody, and any help is very, very welcome. So thank you. Thank you for considering that. Also, I do have to report one of the last ones of these we did, right, was someone who had they had cancer, and we actually, I don't know, I probably should have reported on this better, but we funded a huge amount of their request just through this show, and the person who was involved was brought to tears by you guys, and it was a really meaningful thing. So thank you. I know I do bring these up on occasion. It's always appreciated how much you guys contribute to it. So thank you. Now back to our regularly scheduled program.
We now go back to our story. Did you want to do a couple of super chats, or do we
Yeah, I probably should.
Or do you want to crack on the charges? I'm now back from my safe space, and I've had my cry, and you know.
Rescue Michigan says R.I.P. to John Tuckle, the dissenting judge in the Michigan Court of Appeals upholding Gretchen Whitmer using the Emergency Powers of Governor Act to be a dictator. His dissent was the basis for the Supreme Court finding it spine, and he was 60 years old. So the one judge on the Michigan Court of Appeals that actually stood up against Whitmer, and then the Michigan Supreme Court used his dissent as the basis for overturning her emergency powers. He is apparently passed on. So R.I.P. That's really a shame. Really a shame.
Yeah, that's a bad hit for Michigan.
Yes, and I do want to remind people, because I've covered some things before, and people say dissents don't matter. Dissents absolutely do matter.
Yeah, they do. In fact, some of the most famous cases that you hear about turn out to have been dissents.
Mm-hmm. And dissents are often the basis. When a precedent is overturned, the dissent is often the basis. The dissent at the time, is often a big part of the basis.
But some classic dissents are suspected to have started out as the majority opinion, and then some weasel justice,
Roberts,
O'Connor, excuse me. Well, Planned Parenthood versus Casey, that was a weasel thing. But yeah, no, dissents do matter because they're legal arguments against what the majority holds. You'd always you should never blow them off.
Correct. So that was very interesting. By the way, how's it going, Rescue Michigan? We got to talk soon. I got to catch up with you. Malik Fox, it says, okay, I love this. Here's money so you can do more of it whenever you two can come up with a reason to do it again. Unironically entertaining.
It just sort of popped in there.
Meshikiari Russ says, how are y'all not wanting to sprawl yourself against the wall after this torture? Lol.
Well, like I said, it's like C.S. Lewis writing the screw tape letters.
You give us some pretty high praise there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not in degree, only in philosophy, not degree. But Lewis stopped writing the screw tape letters because it was starting. He implied that he was enjoying it too much, and it was he felt like it was endangering his faith. Well, not exactly faith, but it was
too much of an indulgence.
Changes. Yeah. Well, you kind of get in the groove, like you see. But anyway, I'm glad they like it. I was curious as to whether we pull.
Well, at least one person.
Where do you get? Well, when do you get to? I'm serious. I just kind of read them in order. I'll pick some of the good ones out in the next session the court holds.
Sure.
In a little bit.
The denialist says, as an outsider, I move that even having a trial is sexist. We should just mob them in this court for being racist against women. This court is not racist against women. We hold women as the highest and most important regard.
Well, and let's be really clear. This court must, of course, collect its salary and get the lavish health care benefits. So we can't just get rid of the court. That's crazy talk.
Yes. What would the world do without a court? This is that is colonialist and imperialistic. The concept that the court should not exist is horrifying.
Yes, I beg leave of the court to have a trial amendment of the charging documents because I'm getting additional allegations being texted to me.
Oh yes, you're free to amend them. Again,
you,
as this is the court, you are fully able to make any accusations that you want, so long as they are founded in the rules of woke court, which is you make them. Dr. Jeebus says, "Dear Ricada family, thank you all for permitting this man to cover both videos of the Rittenhouse hearing earlier today." Aw, that was nice.
That's very
Thank you.
nice.
Yes. Okay, should we go back to
I believe
the
so.
woke court?
I will be the bailiff. Oyez, oyez! All rise for the honorable Judge Rackets.
Correct. Thank you. You may be seated, but do so quietly and respectfully to those of you who were not able to rise in my presence.
Your Honor, once again, I must beg the indulgence of the court. I may break up and cry, given the severity of some of these charges. So I would ask the court to just, be lenient.
Again, as we know, cis white male tears are delicious and encouraged in woke court. In fact, they may be required.
Thank you, Your Honor. The sixth count alleged, again, by a woman, and so therefore it is conclusively true, is that women were demoted for being troublesome. I don't even think I really have to explain to the court how horrific those charges are.
I frankly am appalled and disgusted that sentence was even uttered in this court, and I find Paizo guilty.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Let's see. Another charge was, oh my goodness, Your Honor, this is so horrific. I'm going to have to just take a moment. But a woman accused the Paizo executive of referring to homosexual males as F.A. blank blank O.T., which is virulent homophobia, virulent hate. And again, they're accused by a woman, so it must be true.
Why you think you done it?
Okay, number one, Your Honor. Just look at him.
He talks like a fag, too.
I am appalled. I am
speechless.
That language has no place in society, and that person has no place on living.
Yes, and this next charge that I'm going to bring, Your Honor, it's imperative that I mention to the court that since there have been no actual denials of this, we don't need to consult the preference stack, and this is important for the next charge. According to the next charge, Lisa Stevens, the owner of the company, and again, this was apparently alleged by a woman, so it must be true. She insisted that the employees not complain about anything, especially their incredibly low salaries, and they should feel honored working for Paizo. Now, Your Honor, it is true that one should be honored working for a woke company. However, it's still
a woke company run by a woman, right?
Yes,
of
yes.
course.
However, it's very exploitative, and since the woman has not denied these charges, she's obviously guilty, and I move the court find the company guilty of this.
Yes, I find the company guilty. Well, as we know, even though a woman may sit in the presidency, companies, the concept of companies or corporate entities is inherently patriarchal and is based on a male-driven structure. And therefore, a woman who is to sit at the top of these companies without a hint of irony is engaging in a subservient sort of behavior and is a traitor to her own gender. And therefore, she must be properly recognized, as a woman, of course, but sitting in her role as a surrogate male. And that is, frankly, disgusting to me.
That's appalling. Your Honor, I would like to amend the record. I have been corrected by one of my paralegals that the allegation of referring to the gay employees came from the president of the company, and the term actually was little blankets.
So the president of the company said
yes,
that?
Your Honor. That's a woman has alleged it, so it has to be true. It's horrifying. I mean, it's just horrifying. So,
Okay.
And again, this is all in the context of the company telling the outside world how woke they are and how much they are committed to these things, to diversity and to inclusiveness and all that.
I believe this
I would
company
ask
needs
I would
to
ask
be
the court
terminated.
go ahead and find them guilty of 3 of these crimes. I mean,
Of course,
I don't,
yes.
I think this treble liability would be appropriate in this case. Anyway, back to I apologize for not getting that in the record properly. Let's see, that would be 8, 9, and 10. So we're now on the 11th cause of action, in which one of their executives, an Eric Mona, was accused again by a woman of saying that in 3 or 4 years it would be politically incorrect to include madness mechanics in books, so they should do it now while they have a chance. That
seems very ableist.
That strikes to the very heart of wokeness, Your Honor, because he is attempting to somehow avoid the ex post facto nature of woke law. As the court is well aware, in 3 or 4 years, when it is determined that madness mechanics are themselves ableist in some way, that merely because they put them in the book now will accomplish nothing. So
the woke court extends forward into the future and backwards into the past as it is today. And so, yes, his acknowledgement that this would become problematic means it always was problematic, and therefore he is problematic. Of course,
now,
he is problematic in general.
It is. Now, I would hasten to add, Your Honor, this is more of a procedural crime than an actual crime against wokeness. So I would ask for the court to be lenient on this particular count. Perhaps just a sternly worded warning, rather than punishing them too much, because it was procedural.
All punishments will be up to the court.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm merely making a suggestion, but it is of course your call. Let's see. No, this is devastating too. I mean, once again, I believe this is count 11 or 12. A woman has alleged that this Lisa Stevens person blamed employees for being slackers, and said that employees that were slackers were a cancer on the company because products weren't shipping on time, when in fact, according to a woman, Paizo was understaffed. Once again, we see the complete lack of respect for women. Of course, there's no possible way that women would ever be able to not deliver a product on time, and therefore they're guilty. How many more counts are in this complaint? Well, I'm really trying to kind of get to some of the good ones. If the court would indulge me for a second, let's get to perhaps the most egregious acts. A Jason Bowman, who the court may I would remind the court, is an absolute scumbag, and is a woke piece of shit, legal term of art, as we know.
Wow.
Yes, he is accused by a woman of hitting on every woman in the creative department who is not in a relationship. I don't, and he's at a high level of management.
Has he ever sent a picture of his penis to women?
Yes, Your Honor, he is accused of that as well, and I think most tellingly so. Yes, fortunately we have that. Most tellingly, in his quasi denial, he didn't actually deny that. He just said that, that it was that he actually admitted it. Although again, it doesn't matter. This is all academic, because a woman has accused him, therefore he is guilty.
Right.
In fact, I really don't want to waste the court's time with these digressions, because again, from a legal procedural case, he has no defense because he has been accused of something by a woman.
Well, what I'm getting from this, counsel, is that Paizo, which bills itself as a woke company, is a woke company. It is woke. I mean, yes. it is outwardly woke, but it manifests a certain hypocrisy towards its own employees.
Yes, which is, of course, one of the defining characteristics of a woke company.
Right. But as the woke court, we must punish these companies because the companies that are woke want to be punished under this system. So, you know what, counsel, I actually don't need to hear the rest of the charges. I actually just deem Paizo guilty of everything. They are a trash fire of a company, and they should be aborted, as abortion is our ethos in woke culture.
I do have a couple of additional comments for the court that I believe will help the court determine the correct punishment. Again, a woman accused Paizo of not allowing trans employees to go to conventions, and not merely because of transphobia, although that's obviously that's always the case. Again, per woke law, anything that negatively impacts a trans person is due to transphobia.
Yes,
but not only that, the reason that they wouldn't let them go is they required employees to be, to occupy a hotel, two to a room, and they didn't want the trans women with the biological females.
Extremely bigoted. Extremely bigoted.
Yeah, and again, I hasten to add, they are accused of this by a woman. Therefore, per woke law, they're guilty.
They are guilty. No, I agree. I agree.
They've been accused, for example, of actively attempting to allowing internal executives to try to crush their diversity blogs. I don't know what those are, but it sounds like a horrible crime. There's all kinds of allegations of stealing ideas from people in the protected class. Inappropriate gifts were given by one of the executives to women. A makeup compact with a naked Medusa and a greeting card with a vibrator were given. Again, a woman accuses them of doing this, therefore they are guilty.
Greeting cards with vibrators are completely inappropriate, and this court definitely did not smirk at the concept.
No, and not only was this given to a woman, but it was given to an older woman. So it's both ageist and misogynist. And I would ask the court to find them guilty, obviously, of both of those counts.
All right, counsel, I've actually heard enough of this case. I think we can go ahead and call this one for the record books of woke court. I mean, Paizo is a garbage company, and will forever be a garbage company. There is no recovery. And under the laws of woke, they should be exiled from all communities that exist.
I would like to make a motion that the court order all game conventions to not allow these people at their conventions, because again, they have violated the laws of woke.
I mean, frankly, they aren't even people anymore.
No. Per the laws of woke, they should not be allowed. I mean, no other company should do business with them. Oh, and Your Honor, I do have one last motion on one point. I would actually ask the court to find Jessica Price guilty of all of these violations as an accessory, because by her own admission, she's known about these things for the 2 or 3 years it's been since she left the company, and she remains silent because apparently she didn't want her friends to not like her. So she's an accessory.
Then she's complicit. Yep.
Yes,
completely.
yes. So I would ask the woke court to find her irredeemably unwoke.
Well, it finds her irredeemably woke, but still guilty.
Yeah, and I would also ask the court to find them to be irredeemable douchebags.
Well, of course.
Yes. I have no further business before the court, Your Honor, so I will rest my case.
No, that is fine. They're judged guilty on all matters and excommunicated from all things, and no one should ever buy anything from them again. Or have them in their presence. Well,
certainly no one who adheres to the principles of wokeness should have anything to do with them, because that would make them just another idiot hypocrite, right?
Yeah, of course.
That's the thing. I mean, they have been accused, and per the woke law, accused is guilty. I got to say, I like this woke legal system. It's so much simpler.
It's pretty easy.
Yeah. I can already tell you that procedurally, we won't be backed up with anything like the delays that are caused in these courts with their due process and their commitment to rights and all that kind of tripe. That patriarchal garbage.
Yeah. No, it's but see, this is the funny thing is like this is actually what these people want.
Yes, we're playing it straight here. You know, all that the woke court is being asked to do is to simply impose the very same rules on these jackasses that they impose on everybody else. And I would encourage anyone who's interested to read the non-denial denials. This one idiot actually admitted that he published pictures of occult symbols. He's an occultist of some kind, and included in those symbols was a swastika. Okay, and he had no idea that it was a swastika. I mean, he had no idea that it was in there. How do you take a picture of a bunch of religious symbols and the swastika not flash out? My guess is he's one of those little edgy shits that thinks that I'm going to be very edgy and ooh.
So, Theophrastus 3.0 says, is any of this crap really happening? Look,
everything that I've just said is alleged.
Yes, all of this is happening. There's been a big freak out on Paizo at just following Gen Con, I believe. And people are having their woke seizures right now over it. So
yeah, I certainly would ask the woke court to come back in there real quick and just simply admonish Gen Con for even allowing them to be present.
Gen Con's a pile of shit because Gen Con banned the quartering for getting punched, which is pretty lame of Gen Con to do. I mean, I'm not demanding anybody like the quartering or whatever, but if you're going to ban the person getting hit and not hitting back, I mean, I guess if they banned him for not hitting back, that would make sense. But being that it's Gen Con, that's not actually why. They were just looking for an opportunity, and that's a lame thing for them to do. So I'm kind of through with Gen Con anyway.
I would like to reserve the opportunity in the future to bring more charges as this case develops against the unwoke.
Well, the woke court's always open.
Thank you.
The woke court's always open. Well, court is adjourned. I don't have my gavel over here.
Yeah, we need to get you a gavel. We need wigs.
No, I have one. It's just over there, and I didn't want to roll over and grab it.
We need to, and I hasten to add, it is not important at all to check for me to determine the factual basis of these things. We are simply saying that because women alleged it, it must be true.
Yeah, well, hopefully they eat their own. Although, since most of them are fat, I don't know if that's a good idea.
Yeah, and the whole thing on this woke stuff, they're too stupid to see the cannibalism that's going to happen because, when your whole life is built around being aggrieved and being offended and being annoyed. You know what, Your Honor? We did fail to include one of the key points of woke law, and that is that if you offend someone, if someone is offended, you're guilty, and it is not a defense that the offended person was unreasonably offended or that you didn't intend for it. I don't think we really had any charges to that effect, but I wanted to call that to your attention.
I'm sure someone was offended, but they're just terrible people at the end of the day. I mean, the funny thing is that the real bad things that Paizo appears to be doing is grossly underpaying their staff. I mean, they're doing the same thing that Marvel and DC are doing. They're taking these people who believe they have a passion for the role-playing industry. They're exploiting them. They're not paying them a good wage. And as a consequence, because they're not paying good people a good wage, they're paying crappy people who think they have a role-playing fetish a good way or a crappy wage. They're getting a crappy product and they're not making any money.
I mean, as an employer myself, I cannot tell you how disgusting it is to hear of employees being treated that way. I would never treat my people that way. Nor would any successful business owner that I know, and I know a lot of them because that's my primary target market. It's absolutely disgusting if these allegations are true. And I've heard them from multiple sources. I believe them for whatever that's
worth. If
worth.
only the employees weren't such basic indentured servants that they could afford to confirm them. It would be funny, but they can't because it's all they have is their basically minimum wage job at Paizo.
I kind of want to be William Shatner in that SNL skit, right? And tell these Paizo employees, these Paizo indentured servants, grow up, get out of Paizo's basement, go find a real job. You know,
Yeah.
The thing about gaming is you get to do it for fun anyway, and boasting that you work for a game company, it just doesn't have as much chic as it used to. I for one will not at all be sad to see Paizo if it should disappear. And you know it certainly I don't see the second edition of its rules flying off the shelf or anything. I think they are getting some traction with the sci-fi rule set, which I haven't actually. I've been meaning to pick up a copy of it, but I probably won't now because I wouldn't want to run afoul of the woke court. And that's unusual because I'm a big science fiction role-playing fan. I buy them all, you know. But I do think that they're getting a little bit of traction with that. But you know, their salad days would appear to be over. So.
Yeah, and not a nary a moment too soon. Okay, so you also had a different story to talk about involving the budget, right?
Oh yeah, with the thing I sent you this, yeah.
Yeah. So, guys,
yeah.
did you know that in this budget bill, right, that they're trying to pass, this multi-trillion-dollar monstrosity, the government is going to pay 10%. Apparently, the federal government is going to pay 10% of the salaries of local workers, a particular set of local workers. Now, who might that
obviously
be?
It'd have to be EMTs, right?
Well, or firefighters, maybe.
Yeah, or
teachers,
plumbers, electricians, you know, teachers, cafeteria workers, retail workers, janitors.
Nope.
Not a chance.
It's journalists.
Yeah,
That's
have you got?
right, y'all.
Can you pull up the actual clip that's you know that I sent you? I think it you know. Well,
You sent me a clip.
I texted it to you earlier. Today.
Oh yeah, the payroll. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you got to see this. I mean, because somewhere I know there's got to be people going, okay, Ty and Nick have been drinking too much. They're making this up, but no. Here we go.
Here we go.
Not a joke.
Payroll credit for compensation of local news journalists. In general, Jackie Daytona is a Greg. I did not go to a third-tier toilet law school with a low bar pass rate. It was easily a fourth or fifth-tier law school with a low bar pass rate.
Pass rate.
And
that's offensive to third-tier law schools.
I happened to pass mine on the first try. I don't know what your issue is, but yeah, it's weird. It's like a bunch of other people weren't able to pass the bar, which was kind of, you know, like I guess that was sad for them, but it wasn't a big deal for me. How strange. So yes, payroll credit for compensation of local news journalists. In general, in the case of an eligible local newspaper publisher, there shall be allowed as a credit against applicable employment tax for each calendar quarter, an amount equal to the applicable percentage of wages paid by such publisher to local news journalists for such calendar quarter. So there you go.
Further in the law, basically in the first year, it's 25, the maximum amount of tax credit. This is money that they don't have to pay to the government. So it's dollar for dollar, $25,000 per journalist. And in subsequent years, $15,000. It's an effective $25,000 a year subsidy. But what's interesting is this is paid to the publisher, not to the journalists.
Right. So they're buying the publication. They're bribing the publication.
This is just not, they're not, at this point, they're not even pretending anymore. It's an absolute bribe. Now, let's all hope that Manchin and Sinema continue to torture the Democrats and keep this thing from happening. If we can get to next year, it's unlikely this kind of crap will pass because I don't even think that. Okay, let me rephrase this. I find it hard to believe that the Democrats would be stupid enough to pass this kind of crap in an election year. But I'm not basing that on any evidence.
Yeah.
You
know. No, it's amazing. They're just being blatant about it. Please pay the media. We're going to pay the media. Carry our water. Carry our water.
And in the definition of eligible local newspaper publisher, it's basically so broad and so subjective that the IRS is going to wind up deciding who is an eligible local newspaper publisher or not. It nominally includes digital publishers, but the idea is they have to have a certain acceptable percentage of locally sourced news stories and that kind of stuff. But it's so vague that basically the IRS is going to decide, and whatever they say goes. And of course, the IRS is going to be completely objective about this. They're not going to, allow their own leanings to enter into it.
Okay, so you brought this, but I've got something else entirely, and you have no idea about this. But are you ready for your blood to boil?
Sure.
Chat, are you ready for your blood to boil? Because I've got a blood boiling story for you. Here we go. It's a feel-good story and a blood boiling story rolled into one. It's amazing how that can happen. This is from the ABA Journal, the American Bar Association Journal. And we have judge accused of eating evidence apparently kills himself before FBI agents enter home for arrest. Okay. So what was this judge eating evidence? Is very weird, right? Very strange. A Maryland judge facing a federal charge of child exploitation apparently killed himself before FBI agents entered into his home to arrest him Friday. Judge Jonathan Gray Newell of Caroline County, Maryland, has been accused of using a hidden video camera to record boys showering at his hunting cabin, reports the Washington Post, the Baltimore Sun, and Courthouse News Service. Newell was a judge since 2016, and before that, he was the top prosecutor in Caroline County. The U.S. Attorney's Office.
Well, isn't that special?
They disclosed in a September 10th press release that Newell died from an apparently self-inflicted gunshot wound. Police visited the cabin in July after a minor who was born in 2006, so at this time is still 15 years old, saw what happened to be a camera, or what appeared to be a camera in the corner of the bathroom as he prepared to shower, according to a probable cause affidavit. The lens was facing the shower. The youth examined the camera and took pictures of it with his cell phone. He had a friend inform their parents, who called law enforcement. When speaking with officers, Newell denied placing a camera in the bathroom and, at the end of the interview, excused himself to make phone calls and recharge his phone in his bedroom. Investigators saw Newell reach under his bed, saw his hand closed in a fist, and saw him place his fist next to his mouth. He's eating like the USB drive, right? He's like, well, boom, sucking that thing down.
I guess I don't know what he thought he was going to achieve by that.
Investigators heard 2 crunch sounds from Newell's mouth and saw him drink from a cup.
Oh, my goodness.
When investigators examined a recording device that had been placed under the bed, it did not contain an SD card. He had a crunchy silicon chip. Ow, ow, ow. Newell was taken to the hospital for CT scans, which found that there was possibly a metallic foreign body in his bowel. Armed with search warrants, investigators found several digital devices, including an external hard drive that revealed numerous videos of minor males showering.
Well, isn't that special?
This is a self-correcting issue.
Now, because they didn't mention party affiliation, I'm going to presume he was probably a Democrat.
Well, it's amazing what we can do with the internet on judges.
Let's play Name That Party and see if that's...
Who appointed this judge? Anyone want to guess? Let's see. Here we go. Let's see. Was this guy indicted back in 2014?
Well, I don't know about I don't know if your blood would, if you heard about this. Did you hear about this, about how the FBI completely screwed up the gymnastics sexual abuse thing?
Yep. We've talked about that.
Wasn't that horrifying?
Yeah.
These jackasses have got all the time in the world to fabricate it, to try to overthrow a presidential election. But when 15-year-old girls are being raped by this scumbag, the FBI agent apparently wanted to get a job with the Olympics.
Yeah.
Of course, hopefully he'll be popular on Cell Block D.
Let's see. Oh, he was elated. He was elected state's attorney. What? Come on, talk about his circuitship.
While you're hunting that down, somebody in the chat said, "Tybeard, you need to read that How to Retain More Women in Law Firms." That's not really a problem at Beard and Harris. We have, we're a majority female firm at this point. The Amazon Legion of Doom is a thing, and the thing is, I never set out to hire particularly women or men or whatever. I try to hire good lawyers. Don't really care about that other stuff. Oh my God, I would be busted by the woke court because I'm
Larry Hogan, Governor Larry Hogan of Maryland, is the guy who appointed him.
I can't. Has Maryland had
he's a Republican.
Really?
Well,
that's very unusual.
The governor is Republican. I don't know
but
about
the judge.
the
What's
judge.
the judge's name?
His name was Judge Jonathan Newell. So who knows? He could have been a Republican this time.
I think he was. He was a Republican. That probably explains why they went after him.
Well, he deserved an axe to the face, not a gunshot.
Not saying for a second he didn't deserve to be, to be forced to commit suicide. But it is very unusual for a news story, though, to leave out a Republican identity of something like this.
Yeah, it is interesting. I'm really curious about the, God, where does his name go? Judge Jonathan Newell. Jonathan Newell.
Clemsic has an interesting super chat. We'll have to.
Let's see. He doesn't list party affiliation.
Somebody in the chat is saying that that the governor is a rhino.
Yeah, I'm just curious if they had his, because he's elected prior to he was elected to a different position.
He's anti-Trump and seen as the future of the GOP. Not by anybody that matters. Trump is coming back, guys. For better or for worse.
He was retained to a 15-year term on November 6th, 2018. Well, that didn't pan out very far. 3.5 years. Okay, here we go.
I saw a great meme, and it was find someone who will look at you the way the Lincoln Project looks at teenage boys.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, have you seen Michael Sussman? Have you seen this story?
Is that Perkins Coie shithead? That's yeah.
Yeah.
Open question though. Do you think they're going to actually indict anybody else, or is he the sacrificial?
Well, you get one at a time, right?
Yeah.
They had the one lawyer who lied about the Carter Page thing, and now you got this guy. This guy, by the way, if you want to just talk a little bit about corruption in the court system and popular media and all that stuff, Michael Sussman was a partner at Perkins Coie, along with Mark Elias. Mark Elias is another partner at Perkins Coie and happens to be the Democrat frontman for every single election case. These guys were the guys handling it. This guy had to resign because, as it turns out, he lied to the FBI about Trump back in 2016. Weird that just keeps happening.
And it takes 5 years to come out too. And of course, we'll see what kind of punishment he gets. Is the judge going to slap him on the wrist like they did the last guy?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, that guy had a kid coming, so that wasn't really fair for him to spend all the time in jail.
I agree. I think that should be an absolute defense against trying to overturn a presidential election.
Sweet Violence says that he's listed as a Democrat in the 2018 election. The judge was so.
Oh,
so there you go.
Well, that would explain why the party affiliation. They will not list a Democrat's affiliation 90% of the time, and they will list a Republican 90% of the time.
Yep. So. Okay, so Perkins Coie partner. Michael Sussman resigned from the law firm after he was indicted Thursday on a charge of lying to the FBI. Perkins Coie said in a statement that Sussman offered his resignation from the firm in order to focus on his legal defense, and the firm accepted it. Yeah, they're like, you have to get out. You're done.
Yes.
You have to get out. Law.com reports
It is
here
time for you to go. Classic kung fu reference from
Yeah.
the 70s TV series. It is time for you to go.
The statement said Sussman had been on leave from the firm. New York Times, Washington Post, and Politico also have coverage. The indictment stems from a September 2016 meeting in which Sussman gave the FBI general counsel information about an alleged secret channel of communications between the Trump organization and a Russian bank. That whole Russia collusion thing, by the way, just years later now, that they ran through that his entire presidency. It turns out yet again it was part of a lie. Sussman is accused of lying when he said he wasn't bringing the allegations to the FBI on behalf of any client. He actually brought the allegations on behalf of his at least two clients, including Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign, the Justice Department alleges.
Well, here's the thing.
Kind of important.
It is kind of important, but at the same time, what absolute intentionally obtuse moron would actually believe that he's not bringing on behalf of a political campaign? You know, why did they ask the question? Why the hell did they why did that answer have anything to do with what they did with that information? Because it was obviously on behalf of a political campaign. I mean, I hope to put the son of a bitch below the jail. You know, I'm not.
They won't. I mean, he'll get what,
get a wrist slap.
3 months or something ridiculous.
Yeah, he'll get. I doubt it. He probably won't even get that. I mean, they're corrupt, and that's you know. I mean,
I love how this is reported. The FBI eventually determined there was insufficient evidence to support the allegation of a secret communications channel. Prosecutors say, what, in 2021? Is that when they eventually determined that? Because they've been running with this lie since 2016.
Here's to hoping that if Trump does get back in office, I want him to fire at least 3 layers of management, maybe 4 at the FBI, and then promote everyone else up solely on the basis of seniority. It'll be a train wreck of an organization for 20 years. This
is a result of the same probe that got Kevin Kleinsmith, the FBI lawyer who changed the email.
Yeah,
so,
and who, as I recall, got an absolute pat on the wrist.
Yeah, I think he was sentenced to like 6 months, but I think he didn't have to serve all of it or something. You know, it's just like treason or whatever. I mean, not really treason, but it is an attempted insurrection.
It is well, you're using the power of the government to try to overrule a presidential election. If that's not treason, I don't know what is.
Well, treason as a specific legal definition of providing material aid and comfort to an enemy of the state, which...
Yeah, you're right. Insurrection is probably a better fit. Yeah, I agree.
It's the funny thing is these are more insurrection than the idiots at the Capitol did. Because these people were trying to engineer an election through the legal system, utilizing the FBI and the FISA court by lying. That's what they were trying to do. They were trying to perpetrate a fraud on the court for the purposes of controlling an election. The people who went in January 6th. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, you finish.
I was just saying the people who were there on January 6th were just a bunch of dummies who were walking around taking a self-guided tour of the Capitol, and some of them did get violent. But there is no stated plan, and not a single person has been charged with anything akin to insurrection because there's no way they could. There's nothing they could do to actually make that charge stick.
Yeah. Well, and if you have any doubt that the fix is in, compare what happened to Kleinsmith, what happened to those yahoos at the Capitol. You got a lawyer who lied to the court to justify using state resources to try to entrap a citizen as a result of political motives, and he literally didn't do any time. That's an embarrassment to the entire federal judiciary. I mean, anyway.
You know why he didn't do time, right?
because he's part of the club.
Well, because he was the fall guy. I mean,
Yeah.
he was the fall guy, and that went up the chain, and
Yeah.
they knew.
And he's part of the club. The FBI is not is nothing more, than the Praetorian Guard for the Democratic Party at this point.
Ugh. That just disgusts me.
Yeah,
That just disgusts me.
It's vile.
Yeah. You all right over there, buddy?
Yeah, there's some noise in the background. I'm trying to figure out what
It sounds like someone's walking by.
Yeah, I think so. Hopefully they will stop.
Oh,
That's going to cost me.
yeah. You should. Why would you say that?
Yeah, sometimes it just pops out. What do you- I've got a point where my daughter is just like, why do you ask why? How's that knowledge going to be helpful to anyone?
Okay, so it's going to happen today, right?
Today? No.
Well, neither do I, but something's going to happen today.
Okay.
It is September 18th,
Yes.
right? Officially, we're in September 18th.
Oh,
and
that's
that
right.
is
It's a year.
it's Justice for January 6th Day. So there's a right-wing demonstration, which means prepare for like a major news event to draw as much attention as possible to the right-wing demonstration. I'm not saying it's a false flag. I mean, it could be a kid sneezing on a kitten, right? And they're going to make it into a major news story.
I am convinced that they're going to try for one more impeachment of Trump. I mean, you don't know for sure, but I say we've got at least a 50% chance because they're that afraid of him. And I think they're going to keep looking for anything they can attempt to do that with. It's not going to work, but at the end of the day, what are you going to do?
Well, they've got disasters on their hands. The U.S. admitted today that, did you see the admission about the drone strike in Afghanistan?
Yeah, I think everybody except the U.S. government already knew that had happened 2 or 3 weeks ago, but yeah.
Yeah, they knew, but they've now admitted it. They're having a bad time on this. The mandatory vaccines are not polling popularly.
Buffoons. Yeah, isn't that interesting that that apparently 2 key demographic groups of Democratic supporters don't share the same concerns of hysterical, neurotic, affluent white women in Manhattan. The Democratic Party is being run by a bunch of bossy old white women in Manhattan. And yes, I include Chuck Schumer as a bossy old white woman.
Schumer.
Oh, and you may have already talked about this. And what about that? How tone deaf is AOC exactly? With that tax that Rich
look,
that
all of you know how like blind people they get better hearing, right?
Yeah.
Like as one sense like recedes, another sense grows. AOC is so tone deaf that her teeth are the size of Mr. Ed's teeth.
Yeah. That's, I saw that dress and I was like, oh my goodness. Wouldn't you love to be the head strategist for the Democratic Party?
She's the only one who can eat the rich. She's got those chompers.
Yeah. Yes, she does. And it's, the thing is though, I mean, we laugh at her. She's not going to get unelected. She's from a far left district. And she's forever.
She and Ilhan Omar are forever candidates.
Yeah. Well, and the great thing about it is they're so damn incompetent. Since a Democrat is going to be in those districts anyway, I'm perfectly happy with them being far left-wing idiots. Because it'd be worse for us if they got anybody that was effective. But yeah. No problem with women, but no more pudgy women wearing pantsuits in politics. That's harsh. I don't disagree with it, but it's harsh.
Well, yeah, at least AOC isn't a chunky yet. I mean, she will be. Give her a couple terms, y'all.
Okay, I'm going to give someone an honorary super chat here. Joshua Baddock said, crap. Why are you so mean to her? She's cute. I just want to stroke her mane and feed her a carrot. I say, well played, son. Well played.
Just don't ride her bareback, buddy. Trust me on that one. You want as much leather between you and her as possible.
Anyway, that was either I'm getting punchy or it just really was that funny. I don't know.
This is good.
Well done.
Jason McConnell
I
says,
award you one internet for that one.
Jason McConnell says, Ty is pretty enough, but everybody knows Lady Rackets is Nick's real beard. A beard
Yeah, let's skip on.
Do you know what a beard is?
Yes, I became familiar with that term a while back. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure.
That's.
I've had to educate you on so much.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. That's
Sweet
true.
summer child.
Yes. Please be the naive fool that you were. You know?
Ty goes to bed at night with his atlas. He's like, no, I long for these days.
It's my precious, it's mine. Oh, let me break out at some point. Let me break out my my architect's lettering kit. If you look at old blueprints and old stuff that architects used to do, you will see this insanely well done hand lettering. It looks at first blush like it's printed, but when you look at the letter forms, you can tell it's handwritten. And they had these kits that had rulers with characters drawn on them and this weird kind of pen that you could set to do whatever slant you wanted, all this kind of crap. Those kits were like $600 or $700 a piece, adjusted for inflation. Well, I've got one right here. I mean, I won't get into it too much.
I've got one right here, implying he's got some
just,
elsewhere as well.
But this thing, I mean, I don't want to just show it off, the contents. So anyway, this kit. Okay, yeah, I'm trying to.
You learned a camera.
Yeah, oh, shut up. This kit is from the 1930s. Anyway. I found one on eBay for $15, and I was like, "Oh, I got to get me one of those." I mean, the box is worth that much. I love old tech. I love old mechanical tech.
That's quintessentially not tech.
Well, it is. It's actually the pen is this insanely complicated thing with gears and shit on it. I mean, it's just I like mechanical things.
Yes, okay. I'll take that one. I'll take that answer.
Yeah, that could have come out better. What are you going to do?
Mither Nemmer says...
Hangover for being the woke prosecutor.
Mither Nemmer says, Nick and Ty, how very dare you? 1/6 was worse than 9/11, Pearl Harbor, and Harper's Ferry combined. Trump was obviously colluding with Russia and then leading an insurrection because reasons.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Well, if we
absolutely.
Could just if the woke court could just get jurisdiction over Trump, we wouldn't have a problem.
Yes. Well, it has.
I did have a girder.
It has jurisdiction.
I did have a girder and panel set. What of it?
Okay, so there were a couple chats from before because, like I said, I did almost a 6-hour show earlier today.
Oh man! Well, like I said, I understand now why I couldn't get you on the phone. What the hell's Nick at?
Yeah. No, I was on here.
Oof.
I was on here. I was watching very important hearings for Kyle Rittenhouse, which were very important. The state, by the way, what they wanted to include is atrocious.
Well, I saw part of that briefly, and it sounded like the prosecutor was literally just bullshitting about the law, completely misrepresenting mistake. Was the judge buying it?
No, nope.
Interesting.
The defense only lost on one thing, and it was a thing the defense probably was going to lose on. Mm-hmm. So what the defense lost on was the defense wanted to introduce into evidence the history of child rape of the first decedent, right? Joseph Rosenbaum was a convicted child rapist, and they wanted to introduce his criminal history as evidence. And the judge said he didn't know that at the time of the shooting, so he can't do that. And then, Richards actually pulled a little bit of he had a little card and he played it, and he said, but we have on the record that he stated that he had just gotten out of prison that day and didn't mind going back. And my client overheard that statement.
That. He did.
Right.
They have that on film, on the tape actually, but they videoed
so
it.
The judge said you can explore what's in the evidence, but he did say that they can't introduce his full criminal history. However, they may be able to introduce the history that he was a convicted felon.
Yeah, and that he had said that earlier, and that
Right. They'll get the statement in. But
That-
my favorite part was that the prosecutor argued that there's no evidence that will be introduced that Joseph Rosenbaum was trying to steal Kyle Rittenhouse's firearm. The reason that's really interesting is because in the criminal complaint, the state's key witness
said that.
the state's witness, who the state is calling as a favorable witness, is actually a whatchamacallit. What is it? The publication starts with a G. It's a right-leaning publication, not Pajamas Media. Guys, who is it? Who is it? It's
A right-wing publication starting with a G?
Yes, I can't think of it. Who's the reporter? Gateway Pundit.
Oh, it is Gateway Pundit. Okay, well,
Yeah.
that's not. That's.
They're certainly not left.
No,
How far
no,
right
agreed.
is a question. But
Yeah.
so that their key witness that the state intends to call on their behalf is the Gateway Pundit reporter who is interviewing Kyle Rittenhouse and who saw the whole thing, and he's the guy who they quote in the criminal complaint as saying Joseph Rosenbaum reached for Kyle Rittenhouse's guns. It's like, there's no evidence.
That's right. I forgot about that. Yes, that
He was the guy who was right there for the first shooting.
Yeah, he saw it. Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing. You've got Rittenhouse saying it. You got the guy chasing Rittenhouse, and Rittenhouse trying to get away from him. I mean, it sounds to me like what the prosecutor is counting on is the jury's just going to give them whatever they want, and they'll actually have to have a case.
Yeah, well, he was trying to do the case on easy mode. The judge had none of it. He was trying to introduce prior acts of Kyle Rittenhouse. He was trying to say that 2.5 months before the incident, okay, and this video's out there apparently. There's video of Kyle Rittenhouse punching a female.
Okay.
And man, I want to watch that. I don't know if anybody
do we have
has
any idea what the context is?
Yes, we do now. His sister was in a fist fight with another girl, and he stepped in to assist his sister in a fight.
Okay.
And so
and he's what, 15?
He was he was 17 at that time.
Okay.
And so what the prosecution wants to use that to somehow prove that that's why he shot people 2.5 months later.
And the judge, I assume, shot that down.
Yeah, the judge shot that down. They had another prior. They had the post act evidence that he went to a bar and met up with some Proud Boys. Although, it's more appropriate to say he went to a bar and the Proud Boys were at the bar and they talked to him there.
Yeah,
and so
there is that troublesome First Amendment, though, of the U.S. Constitution that I think allows you to do things like that. And,
the judge
and
simply
freedom of association thing. I remember reading that somewhere.
It could actually be relevant in some instances what your association is. But the judge asked him, "Do you have any evidence that at the time of the shooting, Kyle Rittenhouse was associated in any way with the Proud Boys? Do you have any evidence?" "Well, no, Your Honor, I wouldn't be able to prove that." Done. Out.
Yeah.
You can't introduce
How
this
refreshing,
evidence.
a judge that's actually appears that he's going to do his job. That's remarkable.
I got a good feeling from this judge from this hearing. I mean, you never know how a judge is going to ultimately weigh out, but
you do not.
He handled this hearing very, very well. The things that were encouraging to me was when he was explaining the narrative as he would understand it, it sounded like the defense's narrative, not the prosecution's.
That's a bad sign for the prosecution.
And he did not let them bring in any of their BS evidence. I mean, because the whole thing they were trying to do is tarnish this kid as some sort of violent vigilante. That was the goal, because they know if they're just on the facts, they're going to lose.
It is absolutely horrific that this kid is even being tried when you've got video evidence of him being assaulted, this other shithead pulling a gun on him. But we got that down in Austin right now. That piece of crap DA we've got in Austin, who won't prosecute real criminals, is going after that Army sergeant who shot that dipshit who had the AK-47. And again, guy walks up with an AK-47, points it at you, and motions for you to roll your window down. That that wasn't self-defense. That was public improvement, in my opinion. But anyway, but that's the thing. I mean, when you use deadly force, you might want to be sure you're in a red area.
Yeah, you definitely want to be sure you're in a red area.
Because
that's the only way that you might not get a prosecution.
These shitheads are doing such a thorough job of undermining our criminal legal system that I'm starting to say that we should simply not give prosecutors discretion. The problem is I don't know how the system works if you don't do that.
Yeah, it's crazy town. Well, that's the thing, right? Like Gage Grosskreutz is the guy that Kyle evaporated his bicep, but he ended up living. I mean, what that guy did was he ran up to Kyle, holds his hands up, and then draws his firearm.
Tries a video game drama. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like, wait, where's the charge?
And if Kyle was a bloodthirsty murderer, he would have shot him right between the eyes and been perfectly justified in doing so.
You know what? It would have probably been better for Kyle if he would have tagged the guy in the chest or the face. I mean, he's reacting in a millisecond of time.
I tell you what, this won't happen for him, unfortunately. But the kind of calm that kid had is very, very rare. The military should try to recruit him because they have 1,000 different jobs where that kind of coolness under pressure would be very, very valuable. That really was a kid kept his wits about him. And,
people are saying that Gage Grosskreutz was a felon illegally possessing a handgun. I'm not actually positive that Gage was ever convicted of a felony.
Yeah, none of these people were model citizens.
It's shocking, right? It's shocking that that just by happenstance, 3 people get shot and all 3 of them end up being relatively bad people. I mean,
it would seem
the first guy being exceptionally bad. Yeah. But what was Gage actually convicted? Because I know the second guy, Huber, had a domestic violence conviction, which meant he could not have a gun. But I think Gage was not actually convicted of his felony. I think he was just accused. But he should be on trial for attacking Kyle Rittenhouse. What he did, I mean, he got shot, but that doesn't absolve him of the crime, in my opinion. Okay, here's the footage of him punching a woman. Here we go.
Edition has obtained new video allegedly showing Rittenhouse involved in a brawl in July. He's in the red, white, and blue shorts. He can be seen landing 3 blows on a young woman who was reportedly fighting with his sister.
There we go.
That looks to me. Wham. Did that look to me like his sister was being attacked by more than one person?
No, I think the other person.
Seeing it right?
I think the other. They're trying to basically break up the fight, is what it kind of seems like. Yeah. So the allegation that they brought in court was that there was some level of mutuality between the 2 females fighting. And then Kyle stepped in to assist, which isn't as clear on the video, but I don't know if they have interviews or whatever about the context.
Was the court interested in letting them get that in?
The court did not let them get this in. This is not going in. But so here we have
allegedly showing Rittenhouse involved in a
Notice that cut. That was a pretty steep edit, right? You go from them walking to them fighting.
In July.
Yeah, I wonder. Kind of makes you want to see what the whole thing is.
See, this guy is just clearly just picked up Kyle's sister and has grabbed her away. So I don't know if he's trying to keep her away from the other chick or whatever. That person might not be fighting the girl. They might be intervening to try and stop her from getting beat up. But so that's the altercation there. It was really a magical hearing though, because the judge blanked the prosecution.
It's so wonderful when that happens. I was in your stream a little bit. I had other things going on, so I couldn't pay attention too much to it. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, it seems to me that judges in a lot of cases have way too much sympathy with prosecution.
Yes.
Part of that is just the system of electing judges. That's one of the kind of minor downsides. Is no one gets elected by saying, "Hey, elect me. I'm going to be soft on crime."
Yep.
Even the Democrats don't emphasize that until after they win.
Right. Right. Play the one on the Independent from Twitter, you boomer. It has the whole 45 seconds unedited. Did somebody send me a link to it? Because, like, just finding something from hold on, the Independent. That's the Independent. I got the official stream of Uganda's Independent. What the fuck? Where, how is it? No, that's not it either. The Independent Mag? No, why would this be it? God damn it. If you want me to do the one from Twitter, I have to have a link to it. Someone's got to send it to me because I don't know where that is. Uganda, eat the poo-poo. It's literally the first result for Kyle Rittenhouse punching a female, but they're okay, here's the thing. Our
Send a link.
YouTube curates results differently. I'll show you. Here you go. Oh, whoops. I can't just press the button that I would normally press.
And
YouTube
now
YouTube curates results differently based on things. So my top, Kyle Rittenhouse punching female, which is exactly what you told me to type. This is the one I got, the Inside Edition one. So I need, you said it's from the Independent?
There's one below it that's like 6 minutes long.
Yeah, there's... Oh, God. That was terrifying.
It's mad.
Where is it? Yeah, see, I don't have the one from the Independent. Google, not YouTube. Oh my God. How's the GoFundMe doing? Here we go. This is doing great, guys. Thank you so much. That is fantastic. Thank you all for donating.
Bravo.
Very, 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 very helpful. It will be very much appreciated. Yeah. Thank you.
I need to shill a couple little things if I might.
Tinker's
Tavern. Tinker's Tavern.
That's a YouTube channel.
That's my
right, or Twitch or YouTube.
YouTube. And of course my beautiful daughter, the Unlikely Beard. She appreciate y'all rating her. She liked that. So,
well, yeah, I rated her the one time. I rated her the other time, and she got complete, like it destroyed her internet.
Yeah. That she had an internet crash, which is terribly unfortunate. But you did it. I think you did it after that, though. I think again, or at least she thought y'all did. So, anyway, go do her. Go see her on Twitch and that Twitch thingy deal.
Okay, so this one from Rex Chapman, is that the one we're supposed to watch? Oh my God, I don't want to see that stupid thing. Okay, here we go. Let's is this the unedited one, guys? I hope so. I mean, this is the article you're talking about with the UK Independent. So here we go.
Why you walking up on the ground? He gonna be the beds. I'm a pistol with his ass. Yeah, you gonna be the beds.
Okay, so the guy that's Kyle's sister right there, the one behind the pole, and the guy.
Is that Kyle or is that?
No, that looks like that's the guy who is grabbing Kyle's sister. So in the other video, so he's probably removing her from the fight.
You gonna be the biz though. You gonna be the biz. He trying to be tough. Look at him. It's all white. He said, "Say it again." Black. We going to jail. Oh, they gonna come take us first. No Captain Save a hoe. Punch that bitch. Oh, me, she already smacked him. And she's gonna call the police. Yeah, punch that bitch. She will call the police. Ooh, move, Kyle, move. Oh yeah. Oh, what?
That's a little bit different context, isn't it?
Hey, hold on.
Okay, so yeah, I mean that leads.
That doesn't make it look quite as abusive. It looks like just a brawl broke out, and
the two women started fighting,
and the reason for the cut was the cars flashing by, which
he does get some good hits on her.
Well, it looks like she's substantially larger than his sister.
Yeah, well, yeah, and well, there you go. That's the incident. That's the incident. But the one thing is, again, do you expect a sibling to not assist their sibling in a fight?
Yeah, that's crazy. Though I shout out again to the two MMA brothers that beat the shit out of those football players. That's beyond epic. Whatever happened in that case? Did you ever follow up and see?
Yeah, the prosecutor dropped all charges against him.
Yeah.
Under the laws of mutual combat, no one was charged at all.
Yeah. Well.
So, and they raised something
thank
like.
God they had video, though. If there had been no video, I wonder how it would have been different.
They raised over $60,000 for the legal defense, which is currently on sort of hold to make sure there's no civil suits against them. But yeah,
with that video being present, I don't see. I wouldn't take that case on a contingency.
No, you take that retainer up front.
Yeah, it's like, look, you guys are the aggressors and y'all are assholes. And it doesn't help too that you're substantially larger than these two guys and still got your asses whipped.
Yep. Hopefully the court goes pussies. Music and Fiction says, good evening, counselors. For Ty, on a bottom 3 list, please list from least worst to scum of the earth the following: Congress people, lawyers, and journalists. Who is the least bad, the next worst, and then the absolute worst?
Lawyers are I'll just do it this way because it's too complicated. Lawyers are the best of that bunch. Congress are the second best, and journalists are absolute scum.
Well, there we go. Perfect. By the way, Ty, hope the law firm move goes smooth. Fear all the beards.
I took your uncle. We were downtown, so we had lunch. So I took him by to see the new digs, and I said, listen, I'm gonna introduce you as my interior decorator. Can you do like a gay German interior decorator? And he looks at me and goes, I don't know, Ty. I don't think this place is going to work for you. I said, God. Okay. I was just joking.
Yeah. You can't make that joke around.
Hold on 1 second, please.
Sure. Someone buffing a floor.
Yes, and perhaps surprisingly, it was your Uncle John.
No, that doesn't surprise me at all.
It was like I was talking to Dieter on Sprockets. I was like, okay, I was just joking. Let's don't do this.
So what was that noise?
My wife had turned a fan on in the background. She didn't realize
it was just
that the
a
microphone.
fan.
Yeah, she didn't realize. It's a Mondo Magnum white noise generating hurricane gale force fan
kidding.
that we've got. It's brutal. I love it.
Well, got some more chats there. Mike the Wine shit eating grin. This is from earlier, the earlier show, I should say. He says, money because I like your stuff, and to say the military finally confirmed that they did indeed drone strike 3 adults and 7 kids and 0 ISIS members. General McKenzie is so very, very sorry, so it's all good and kosher now. I'm so tired.
It does become increasingly obvious why we have lost those wars.
Yeah. Well,
when our soldiers utterly dominate the battle space.
It's the military leadership.
They make McClellan look like Patton.
They're terrible. Silky Johnson says, Nick, back in the day for killing a pedo and an abuser, Kyle would have been given a hearty handshake, a bottle of high quality spirits,
I would nominate him for a public improvement award.
And a weekend with Miss July and Miss October. But instead, we get globo homo crap by a probably AIDS-riddled prosecutor.
Nice.
He also says, when a globo homo like that prosecutor that has probably sucked a few stunning and brave female tranny cocks, when they say, let's put it into context, it's going to be a whole lot of corporate media propaganda. What a fucking clown show it will be.
Oh, that's harsh. Harsh but fair.
Yeah, very fair. Very fair. Chris Nemo says, been a while since I caught you live, even longer since I donated. Never ever let your barber decide your hairstyle again. But why I get
no love for the hairstyle at all.
It doesn't matter because the super chats paid for the hairstyle immediately and have paid off profitably since then. It's
hey, you're a businessman. Oh, by the way, I might as well
get a man bun next.
Oh no, please. Look, the rule on man buns is very, very simple. Ask yourself, do I look like Toshiro Mifune? If the answer is yes, get a man bun. If it's no, don't. By the way, I want to apologize. Toshiro Mifune, he's the a Japanese samurai actor,
okay.
Seven Samurai, and about his played Admiral Yamamoto in like 4 different movies. Just a great actor and definitely a man's man. He could rock the man bun, but literally nobody else. By the way, I want to apologize for my anti-anime snarking. I had insomnia last night and went into the office at 2:45 in the morning, so I was a tad grumpy. But well played on the Dune thing. I
don't even remember the question.
Well, no, I sent in a $5 super chat just and ask Cody,
that's right.
What do you think about Dune?
Yeah.
and so you started reaming him out for reading Dune.
That's right.
I was like, son of a bitch.
That was good. I was very clever.
That was well played. I have to tip my hat to you on that one.
Silky Johnson says, Nick, in celebration of Constitution Day and the First Amendment, remember the time in WCW when Booker T was cutting a promo with Mean Gene and called Hulk Hogan the N-word and then realized what he said? Oh, I don't remember that. That's awesome. That's awesome. Philibooty says, how is the word shall read in U.S. law? Well, it's read mandatory. That's something we'll have. As a synonym to may, might, as a synonym to must, will. Must will. And he says, or it depends how it is argued in front of a judge. It's supposed to be read as must will.
Yeah,
it's if a judge gets it wrong, the judge literally gets that wrong. That the shall is commanding language.
Yeah, that's well settled.
Okay, I'm going to just read through super chats, and we can probably wrap up pretty soon. I'm pretty tired. But,
I've had a long day too. We had, as I said, one of our people got COVID, so that was.
Yeah, Kiwi Goes Live says, "Would you rather eat a cold hamburger or cold French fries?" Cold
French fries.
Oh God, I don't know about that.
A cold burger. Ugh.
I don't know. Cold fries are awful, though.
Well, I mean, it's a choice. I mean, which is less awful, though? Myself, I can tolerate cold French fries. I don't seek them out, but I've occasionally gone into the refrigerator and found them and scarfed them, so that's fine. But cold burgers, I don't think I've ever eaten a hamburger cold.
I had bacon cheddar hamburgers that I cooked on our smoker today. I mean, I cooked them hot like it was a grill, but it was still very, very smoky. Oh, they were so good.
Yes, smoke, meat, bacon, and cheddar. Pretty sure that's actually the manna that came down from the heavens for the Israelites.
Yeah, that's why you couldn't keep it for the next day. That's why I had to eat 2 burgers because there was one left.
Yeah, I think very clear.
Zach G says, I think there's some game industry folks in Seattle that could use an attorney, even one that has 0 chance of operating a microphone.
That would be an interesting engagement, to say the least.
Funny Valentine 2024.
But I am a professional. I will, business is business.
Zach G, the question is, can they pay the retainer in advance? Because I'm not sure they can right now. But
well, yes. I mean, a workman is worthy of his hire.
Yeah, that to me, that seems like one where you would want to have the payment in hand.
Upfront and non-refundable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny Valentine 2024 says, hey, Ty, I've played a couple D&D games and looking to DM a game beginning next month. What tips do you have for first-time dungeon masters?
Keep it moving. Keep it moving and keep it moving. Don't get bogged down in the rules. Ask your players what they want to do and you just and make something up. Best thing to do is say, okay, roll a 20-sider, you want high. And if they get high, but mainly just keep it moving. Use theater of the mind. Don't bother with miniatures and all that other bullshit. Describe the scene and just keep it moving. You're an entertainer. You're not an author. You're an entertainer.
When that is the one thing I really like about whatchamacallit, 5th edition, is that everything is a flippin' D20. I mean, just everything's on a D20, and it's so
fondling
simple.
the different size dice though is sort of a
It's no, but I mean, for beginners, that's the
Agreed.
thing. That's what I'm
Agreed.
talking about. Fifth edition is just so easy for people to slide into, and I think it doesn't make it better, right? It's just a convenient thing because, of course, they're trying to broaden the base, and there are trade-offs that happen.
Well,
I like having all the fucking dice on the planet.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? It's all it's just sort of a texture. Maybe that's the right way. If you'll just use the you want high mechanic. That's one of my standby mechanics is you want high. Lumber roll whatever roll any die you want high. I mean, in fact, I want to talk to some of my gaming company buddies. I have an idea for a gaming product. The rules according to Ty.
Oh, okay.
Really, just a book of D&D modifications I've made over the years to my campaign, along with my own inimitable, very, very open and persuasive reason why you should use it. Like, things like, not using it is for chumps.
I want to make a game that is D4 based, but it's also the minimum roll is 100. So you need to roll 25 D4 as a minimum for every roll.
There was a monster or something. I'm trying to remember. Literally, so in original AD&D, they didn't say roll 2d4. Okay, they just said 2 to 8 damage. Right.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And there were times where it was ambiguous as to what kind of dice you roll, but one was this weird range, and we figured out the only way you could actually get that done was to roll like 17 four-siders or some ridiculous thing. It was like, what the hell? Had a bunch of math nerds going, oh no, you can use it. No, wait, you can't use a D20. You need a D19 for that. It was just like, what the? Don't know if it was a misprint. It probably was a misprint, but yeah. D4s are hard to read, but what you really want is the old school D4s from the original set of dice that D&D came with. Those things could be used as caltrops because they were sharp-edged.
Yeah, nasty. Catharga says, wait, those idiots promised no second edition? What kind of ridiculous pipe dream? The Wait 1968 says, hello, Ty. Whose character arc do you like more, Paul Atreides or Andrew Wiggin? Ender Wiggin. Also, who is the better leader? You're welcome, Nick. It's amazing that he's going to get this wrong. The funny thing is,
of course.
The funny thing is how you're going to get it wrong. Say what you were going to say before you said Paul Atreides, of course.
Oh, I don't know who Andrew Wiggins is.
Exactly why you got it wrong. Embarrassment to humanity.
I have no idea. But it wouldn't have mattered. It would be Paul Atreides unless that was a pen name for George Patton or something like that.
No, see, it's amazing that I can't believe you could still get this wrong. Vox Eternus.
Never underestimate my ability to get things wrong.
Vox Eternus, we did actually cover your super chat. It's not the same person. Sergeant McSalty says, spicy hypothetical, but you know how troops were court-martialed back in the day for fragging their commanding officers. How would you handle defending someone who did that to Millie? Ooh.
I wouldn't. I am a professional, but at some point, I mean, if the money was really, really right.
What if you just say, there is no defense because there is no crime?
or the dreaded, he needed killing defense.
That's true. I mean, you know what Millie did, right? I mean,
oh yeah, he's a piece of shit. He is an absolute traitorous vermin. Whatever, I don't want to get started. I mean, he is a political scumbag, and the thing is, I desperately hope the Democrats hang him out to dry as the fall guy for this entire Afghanistan fiasco, because you see, he's like Flounder in Animal House. Remember the scene in Animal House where they've utterly destroyed Flounder's brother's car and what's his name? Oh shit.
I'm not going to remember the scene. I like Animal House quite a bit, but I
you remember
doubt
this
I'm
because
remember
he says, "Hey Ken, face it, you fucked up. You trusted us." That's what I could see. The Democrats saying to Millie, "Hey,
Yeah, that's true. That's
hey,
true.
Mark,
Yeah.
you fucked up. You trusted
You
us.
said you'd protect me.
You trusted us."
I mean, that
But
was
we're
the
gonna-
that
Yeah,
was
I don't
what
know why I
that was the
zoned
Lincoln
out.
Project, right?
Yeah.
That's what happened to
Same,
them.
Same thing. How much? I wonder how much Democrat money they blew before the whole liking little boys thing came out.
God, just can we just execute them? By the way, chat, we're close to 1,000 likes. I have poured the celebratory shot early, but I'm waiting to take it. Not applicable says honest feedback. You're still twice as loud as Ty. Hopefully we've got that fixed, but I think it's half Ty's attitude.
It could be. I'm probably not. I'm probably not close enough to my microphone. That's a big part of it.
The hard part about Streamlabs or StreamYard, it's a very cool system for sharing and all of that stuff, but I don't get a way to monitor the volume differences. And like on Streamlabs or OBS, I get audio monitors and I can see roughly where things are, but on here, I can't. So
maybe they'll add that functionality later. One of the problems here, just so you'll know, is I've got that knee thing flaring up again. So I'm having to sit with my legs straight under my desk, which means I push myself back. I can't get it as close. I'll fix it. I'm going to get a mount for this.
I think I told you about a year ago that you could get this easy
Actually, I
little.
think I have a mount. I just
they're like $20 from Amazon.
We'll see to that. I'll have that the next time I'm on your show. That seems.
You said that months ago.
I'm a lawyer.
Let's talk about prepping. Says, what did this couple learn about Hillary in the Big Teton Mountains? Tyrone Big Dick says, make sure not to do any wrong thing. Veto is lurking. Oh no.
Oh, I got to tell you, Nick. I think I texted you. If I had seen that live, I would have had to have called Adult Protective Services on what you did to him. Who was the guy who's Dick's sidekick on that show?
Sean.
Okay.
He's great.
Sean kind of had these tics going on. I'm going, what the hell? But then he would say something really funny. And it was okay.
If I remember right, he has some like jaw issues, and so he stretches out his jaw with some frequency because I think it kind of like tenses up or something.
Okay, I used to say it was funny. I mean, of course, Dick's always hilarious. So.
Yeah, Sean's great. One of the genuinely nicest guys around. Sean, the audio engineer. No, I had 2 spats over the weekend. And
you torched somebody else?
Yeah. So I only bring this up to talk about it. I've said my piece on the actual argument, but I got into an argument on last Saturday on Flashcast, and then with a guy directly on the show. And then I talked about it the next day because I've been talking about liberty and I thought that would be helpful. And then that guy responded. He did a response video. So then I took it upon myself to do a full live stream breaking down point by point everything he said in his response video, which took over 2 hours to go through the 15-minute video.
Spare the rod, spoil the child, though. So
it was I was mean. I was polite, but I was thorough. We'll say in that
direct.
Yeah, and to quote whatever from Big Lebowski, and thorough. And thorough.
Yes.
Joel Reese says, what's your choice for a super spy name, and why is it Donkey Dick? Did you see that clip of the guy of all the names they had at the school board meeting?
No.
Oh my gosh, I gotta find this quick.
Boy, school boards across the country are having some problems with these asinine parents deciding they want to have a role in their children's education.
We'll just borrow Memology's video on it here. This is good. This is only about a minute long. Here we go. Wait, I don't have. Hold on, I forgot to click the audio. I wish it would default to sharing the audio. That would be better. Memology's a good dude, by the way. Everybody should watch.
You guys work for us in this environment. You answer to us, and I'm asking that you do not pass this policy in Virginia.
Thank you so much, Ms. Thomas. We do appreciate you. Bill McCracken.
Oh yeah, I heard something about this.
Bill McCracken.
Yeah. Bart Simpson.
Stook. Mahidic.
Oh God. Oh boy.
Ophelia McHawk.
And is the guy actually? I don't think he's
over. Eileen Doller.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, here's what they should have done. They should have had a person with a real stupid name, but a real person in the middle of this. Because that's what he has to do.
Yeah.
Like, this guy may actually be aware that he's being trolled.
Yeah.
But he has to consider the possibility that there is a real person. Like, I went to college with a guy who was used to have a crush on a chick named Amanda Bone. Her name was Amanda Bone, right? And her mom's name was Anita Bone, and I'm not even joking. And so it was like, what you need is an Amanda Bone right in there, in with all of the fake names.
Yeah, right. Just to keep them honest.
Yeah, just so they eventually walk up and say, "So that's what you need." That's what you need.
You know, I got to tell you, my first name is obnoxious, and if you grew up in East Texas with that name, that explains the black belt at 15. But I actually had a friend that had an even worse name than mine. His last name was F.A.G. German. Yep. And East Texas in the late 70s, man, that was hard.
Here we go.
Don Kiddick. Don
Kiddick.
Don Kiddick.
Wayne Kerr. Wayne Kerr.
What he ought to do is okay, I'll be adding his channel to my YouTube.
Oh, Memology is great.
Oh, that's glorious.
Fantastic.
What he should have done was he should have channeled the Key and Peele guy, who mispronounced all of his white students' names.
That was good.
Aaron.
Did you but did you ever see there was a comedian back in the 80s, and he did this bit that Key and Peele basically took this bit, right? Because they did the Eastern Conference college.
God, yes.
Like
Thactarius did and for BYU, Dan Smith.
Right. That's a bit of this other guy. He used to do this thing, and he had these two big balloons, these two balloons, and like he first he did a whole routine about breasts with them, which was great. But then he pushes the balloons up onto his shoulders, so he's got the shoulder pads. He grabs a helmet, and he starts doing that, and he's like, he comes out like at one point he's like, Jonathan Montenegro, San Francisco tight end. I hope someday to be a wide receiver. And it's like, but he goes through the whole roster, and it's like the college all-star thing. I can't remember the guy's name, but he was great. It was a great thing. It was, HBO used to do those young comedian specials or whatever. It was hosted by Rodney Dangerfield.
Uh-huh.
And they're all like, all of those are on YouTube, and they're glorious. But he was one of the guys who was on that. And,
yeah, if you can ever you can find this on YouTube, but in living color, Men on Film was the base thing. But they actually the year before, originally we had 3 networks, and the 3 networks had the Super Bowl. They alternated, and part of the deal, if you had the NFL stuff, is you couldn't run anything to compete with the Super Bowl directly. Well, Fox comes along, and Fox didn't, they weren't renewing the Super Bowl licensing or anything like that for another year or two. So Fox had a Super Bowl halftime show with In Living Color. That, of course, was infinitely better than the Super Bowl, the actual Super Bowl show. But one of the segments was Men on Football. I like Bob Greasy. It's like, oh, jeez. it is the Men on series in Living Color. You could not do them now, but they are hysterical. I love that. One of my favorites is they're now we come to Thelma and Louise. Hated it. Who wants to see two scruffy, dried up old white women caterwauling? Beautiful stuff. Absolutely beautiful. Two snaps in a circle. Yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't do that if you. Did you ever see the movie Hollywood Shuffle?
I don't think I did.
It was like it was pretty funny. It was almost in the vein of Kentucky Fried Movie, but with black people, and they had the bit where it was these two guys. They did movie reviews, but it was like hood movie reviews. So they were sneaking into the movie theater. Like they did Amadeus meets Scalarius. I didn't like this movie at all. This movie was terrible.
One of the funniest Key and Peele's, absolutely funniest, is the Black Gay Wedding one. Have you seen that one?
No.
My God.
The comedian was Bob Nelson, by the way.
Bob Nelson.
Was the guy. And I would encourage anybody to look up Bob Nelson's stand-up act. I think it was on the Young Comedian Spotlight or whatever that they used to do on HBO that had like Sam Kinison and other guys on there. And those things were great. But his was riotous.
The Black Gay Wedding skit is hysterical because it's funny, but you actually could see this happening. And so the guy stands there and goes, as we all know, he's got the whole family, extended family, are all in the living room sitting down, and the guy walks and goes, as we all know, Cousin Delroy is getting married to a man. and my friend Steven is coming to, tell us what we can expect at a gay wedding. So the guy walks away, and he's very, very calm and very nice. Well, a gay wedding is just like a straight wedding, and and he's talking about this no change. So I raise it and go, at what point will you be wearing a sexy? Will the minister be wearing a sexy boat captain's outfit, or will he be wearing a nun's outfit? And the guy's like, what? I think he'll just be wearing a normal outfit. At what point do we do jazz hands? Is it okay when they kiss to go, ew?
Yeah. The answer is yes.
He's like, I would try to curb that behavior. And she goes, I'll look away then. It just goes on and on and on. Their torches, Do we use gay currency for the gifts? I guess, sir, what is gay currency?
Apparently, Altlag has posted the Bob Nelson skit on the on my locals page. So if you want to go check it out, ricadalaw.locals.com. Really
Nelson.
easy.
Even better, I'm going to write it down with this pen on.
Just go to my locals page, you boomer.
I don't even have locals. I don't know what locals
You don't need to have locals to go visit the locals page.
Okay.
Oh, God. Right. You should have locals, and you should subscribe to it. Payron Big Dick says, make sure not to do any wrong thing. Veto. Oh, I read that one. Michael Connor says, are Talsorian games is best. Mecton, CP 2020, and Witcher.
And Cyberpunk, the original version of Cyberpunk. I take that back.
Cyberpunk 2020. He's saying Cyberpunk 2020, I think.
Okay, yeah. I thought they were, yeah. That was I played Cyberpunk, the original Cyberpunk, and it was a pretty cool system, as I recall. It didn't run it. My friend ran it.
I can tell you the Cyberpunk 2077 video game was the most boring pile of shit I've ever played. Just about.
The role-playing game was interesting because it had very nice, smooth, slick mechanics that were fun, but you could buy stuff to make your character better. But you also the more stuff you lop off and replace with machinery, the greater the chance of you becoming cyber psychotic and you become an NPC because you just go crazy.
Oh, a madness mechanic.
Yeah, pretty interesting game.
Let's see. Capricious Tyrant says, this one's for Ty. Is your coffee mug available for purchase?
Not at present. We've actually talked about having gear. Brianna is refreshing our whole gear thing. There's going to be a whole new Amazon Legion of Doom logo, and and the women are all like, "Oh, let's get this color look great, and with this color look great with our decor." And I'm just kind of sitting back going, oh, "Okay, I don't know." But yeah, these are awesome cups. When I first started doing bling about 10 or 12 years ago, I said I want good bling. I want the kind of bling that people will hang on to, not crap. We had pins that were machined. I swear to God, they were machined, and they were glorious. I mean, they were heavy and they were a little bit pricey, but so what? I mean,
Ty
not right now, but I'll let you know.
Ty says you and Ty need to watch the late Ralphie Mays skit about a gay wedding he attended. Okay.
Ralphie Mays.
Jordan Jones says, I always enjoy watching you two. Ty, you're the man. I hope you two sketch out a woke court skit with Drex separately. You'll get a lot of views.
We may be on to something with this woke court thing, Nick. This was kind of thrown together at the with a little bit of effort. we could have Drexel as the bailiff.
Oh God. Pat Royson says, holy crap, I come in randomly after not watching your stream forever and hear you talking about the bish who caused an uproar in Guild Wars 2 back in the 4th of July 2017. Yeah. Well, she's still trying to poison whatever she can touch.
But again, I insist that we hold Paizo to the rules they apply to everybody else.
But the interesting thing is these companies keep hiring this dummy. They keep hiring her. She is on a destruction path. She is walking around destroying businesses and workplaces, and the next company's like, well, she won't do that here.
Right. She's been a complete disaster everywhere else and totally toxically poisoning. I think I may have told you that is the one thing that I said to every new hire, and we haven't had any new hires in a long time, but when I was in expansion mode, I said to every one of them, the one thing that will get you fired, and I do mean fired, is if you introduce drama into my office. We have a harmonious work environment, and I intend on it staying that way. And I fired, about 4 or 5 people at least over a 2-year period for just creating drama. And there was no warrant. I mean, it's like, if you can't, if that lesson can't be absorbed, you're out. And I don't regret any of those. It was interesting though, because at the time we were segregated. We had a 3rd floor office and a 1st floor office, and so and I was down in the 1st floor office. So the 3rd floor is where most of the people were, and so pretty quickly everybody figured out we don't want Mr. Beard to get involved, because when he gets involved, people get fired. and so they resolved it. But I don't want drama. If you're an employer, the last thing on earth you want is some damn drama queen coming in and poisoning your environment. And that's all these lunatics have going for them. That's all they know how to do. Mm-hmm. It's like that panel we had at Anime Matsuri a couple of years ago. Where I was pointing out that they have no credibility in the hobby. But because of their claim on gender, they want to jump to the front of the line. It's just that simple.
Tricon 40 says, let me correct your honor from yesterday. The anime Vivi is about 2 AIs, one from the future trying to prevent a Terminator-like future. Okay. Wrestler Town says, woke court is scarily similar to real court. Malik Fox.
Like I said, it's our screw tape letters, I'm afraid.
Malik Foxen says, can y'all use this woke court format more often? Maybe. Karama Minamino says, man seeks peace, yet at the same time yearning for war. Those are the 2 realms belonging solely to man. Tinker's Tavern says, my wife, Rach, who happens to be legally blind, loved the blind testing lines. Well done, lads.
Hello, Eric and Rach.
Fan Advocacy Network says, Nick, don't listen to chat. I think you're very brave for coming out donning that Megan Rapinoe haircut. Crusader Saracen.
No, it's not purple.
Not yet.
Oh, dear God.
Crusader says, always good to see you on, Ty. God be with you both. Zephael says, you're a traitor to your gender, Nick. Just joined. NC says, is your Ranger Spencer Skyrim series available anywhere online? Not that I know of. Or do you plan to upload it to YouTube? I do not. I only caught a few episodes. Now it's gone. I didn't record them. They were up on Twitch for a while, and now they're no longer on Twitch because Twitch takes them down. They don't keep permanent archives, and I didn't keep permanent archives either. Zephael says, Ty Beard, give them fistful of toes. I don't know what that means. The Alaskan Knight says, hey, Nick and Ty, how are you guys? I'm good. My day hasn't been swell. Had a bomb threat at work. Old male Karens complain about customers not wearing masks, and we got sorely behind in work. Lame.
Sorry about that, dude. You know, we have a plague of little shitty people. You know, enforcing little shitty rules about masks and stuff. You know, we need to just start smacking them.
Yeah.
I'm of course, you know, I'm in that bitter, grumpy stage of my life where I'm going, I'm not wearing a damn mask. I've been vaxxed and I've had it, so, you know, Mel Karens are called Kens. Yeah, fair enough. Although I like calling them Karen because that's really what they are. They you know, might nominally be male, but they're acting like psychotic women, so.
Snuggle Struggle says Obama made the dissemination of propaganda legal, and then he took taxpayer dollars and pumped it into mainstream media. Billions, if I remember correctly. Sad. Wrestler Town says, if you're willing to Minecraft yourself, why not just do it before you abuse children? Exactly. Good call there. Mario Carter 13 says, I applaud the stream because it broke new ground. Clumsy K says, Ty, grab a random book off your shelf and read the title. I mean, if you want.
Oh, it's just right behind me. Let me see. I'm going to point at it. The Great Game.
The Great Game.
By Peter Hopkirk. It's actually a really good story of the British and Russian rivalry in the 19th century.
So I'll call out the title of the book that I see when I look up between my two lights. It's the one that stands out the most, okay, on my shelf, directly above my monitor and between my two lights. Dune, Frank Herbert.
You lying bastard.
I am not lying.
Really?
I am here.
Look
at this.
You do not read it. You have it.
Not only do I have it, here, watch this. I'm gonna pull a meta. Here we go.
Okay.
You should be able to. That should be visible when I turn it around here. Hold on.
Ah, there it is.
It's the special edition even.
Yes, it is. So you're basically just a poser.
No, it's not mine. It's my friend's. He lent it to me years ago. Just a jerk.
I knew there was a catch.
Just never read
it. Too good to be true.
2012 Jameson says, safe sport is a joke. Ty, it's worse than woke court, no due process.
Safe sport. I don't get the reference.
I don't know. PD Warren 0829 says, Ty, serious question. Top 10 soldiers in U.S. history plus best wartime president.
Not gonna do top 10. Way too dense. Maybe a top 2 or 3. Patton, Audie Murphy, Grant. I honestly believe. And what was the other one? What was the other question?
Best wartime president.
Lincoln.
Wrestler Town says left won't even sacrifice their sacrificial goats. Michael Dixon says, you and Ty make me want to learn more about law. Well, we failed then.
You poor bastard.
It's
gone horribly wrong, Nick.
It says, Ty, Nick, come on. We all know that the real message of Grift Casio's dress was tax the rich my ass. You got to learn to read between the lines. Ew.
That's fair.
Oh, shit. Crackbot. I missed this one earlier. Crackbot says, breaking, General Dynamics Corporation cancels their vaccine mandate after roughly 40% of employees decline the jab and threaten to walk. I may be able to continue to glow in the dark. Yeah, everybody, the way to fight against it is to resist. I'm not telling people that they need to or should, but that is the only way to fight back. The courts are not going to save you on this.
I had a client and friend, asked me this morning what he should do, what I thought he should do, and I said, it's a business decision, in my opinion. I said, if you stand on principle, just understand that the Karens may very well, exact their revenge, but But the thing is, do it collectively like that's really good if you can get that kind of stuff. I mean, the companies don't need to be in the middle of this shit. This is what chaps me, right? They have no liability whatsoever. They can't say, well, we're legally responsible if anybody gets sick. That would actually be a vague justification if it were true. They're not. They're just trying to carry out the mandates of the left. Companies, knock that shit off. Just do business. This woke capitalism shit is insanely annoying.
I'm not even sure that the government has the authority to force companies to do this. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think they do.
The only way they do is by companies complicit doing it.
Right. The companies damn sure didn't put up any fight, did they?
No, not most of them.
Well, these agencies, with any luck at all, somebody will sue one of these companies in the Fifth Circuit or some sane federal circuit. And, and they'll say, no, OSHA's ability to regulate businesses is not unlimited.
It's not medical decisions here that OSHA is like OSHA is workplace safety, not do you get a vaccine or not. Sephael says Judge was GOP. Sorry, Jonathan G. Newell equals GOP. Well, there you go. Someone said Democrat. Now it's GOP. I don't know. Either way,
it's extremely unusual for that not to be pointed out though in the article. But he's a scumbag who did need to die. So
deserve the bullet he ate.
Yes, I would say so.
Joshua Thomas says, by the will of Shai Hulud, I have finished Dune yesterday, and my eyes have been opened as though I partook of the water of life. Maudib, Maudib, Maudib.
Dune Messiah is good. Children of Dune is and after that it pretty much disassociates itself from the Dune story, in my opinion.
What's amazing is that the Ender books never disassociate from the story, and they're consistently good for all of them.
Yeah, I don't understand Frank Herbert. He created this insanely detailed, elaborate universe, and then blew it up, and he said, never mind. The prequels are make perfectly good doorstops, but you probably could do just as well buying an actual doorstop.
Joel Ray says, getting punched in the face stops some fights. That's true. Jordan Jones says, I've been firearms training with high-level folks. It's crazy that Kyle is alive. Pros go from draw, target acquisition, and fire in 0.25 seconds. Mandy Carvicius says, what are Nick and Ty's favorite classes in D&D? I like warlocks, man. I really do. I think they're just fun. So that warlocks and wizards.
Yeah, I ran druids in classic AD&D because they were kind of cool, but just the basic fighter was also a thing for me. Never got into being a thief or a magic user. Meh.
Nothing Raven says, Rosenbaum, shoot me N-word. Kyle, I'm your Huckleberry. Mandy Carvicio says, Kyle should get the Nobel Peace Prize. Bringing peace to these streets.
At the very least, he ought to get a Public Improvement Award. I mean, that's,
Geode says, there's a guy near a park I frequent on my walks that closely resembles Vaush, but I'm too scared to approach the singularity and confirm the identity. Look, a guy near a park is outside. That's probably not Vaush. Timothy Reaper says, anime recommendation for Ty, Interspecies Reviewers. Oh, yeah, that's a good sci-fi anime. You should check that out.
Okay. Like I said, I was just being pissy this morning on the anime stuff.
You should write it down. Interspecies Reviewers.
Interspecies Reviewers.
Yeah.
Some of the things I've noticed about anime is they don't necessarily have anything like compelling titles. Like, are these like literal translations?
This is a great title. Like, okay, you got to set it in a fantasy world, right? And so they're interspecies reviewers. So they're multiple species, and they're like a Yelp review service type thing.
And this is good.
Yeah, this is great.
Okay. I'll trust you.
Philip Booty says, how is the word may read in law? It's read as might. May, might.
Yeah, may.
They have the option to. Timothy Reaper says, how is the word is read in law? Well, it depends.
Depends on what the definition of is. Thank you, Bill Clinton, for
you got to understand. It could mean a whole lot of things. depending on
I
what
did
you want,
not-
girl.
I did not have. So, I asked my wife for clarification on that, and she assured me that in fact that was sexual relations. So, hey, look, the president said no. I said, no wife on earth except possibly Hillary Clinton agreed with his definition. Well, or the exclusions, I should say.
Moranin says, "Hey Ty, saw Lacey's video on the B&H Facebook page. Any chance we could get crypto / stock advice videos, tax videos?"
Sure.
Be very careful with that on platforms. By the way.
Yeah. I don't want to. Yeah, I mean we're slowly building up a library of videos so that when we go live with our YouTube stuff, we'll start.
Just be very careful with crypto stuff because YouTube has been known.
YouTube out.
Yeah, they've been known to shut down channels for that are seen to advocate crypto in certain ways.
We wouldn't do that because we're not investment advisors. But I could certainly discuss
the tax advice. Yeah,
the tax implications of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I would just suggest anytime.
That's really a good idea. You know what I ought to do at some point, Nick, is come on your stream and ask everybody for ideas, because we're planning on launching a YouTube channel, and we want to know what people would like to see. So crypto, yeah.
Blaine 20 says, Tiberius, favorite Yul Brynner movie other than Anna and the King and the Ten Commandments?
Well, Magnificent Seven, I suppose.
But
Moses, who is this Moses? Sorry.
Mario Carter 13 says, send Millie to Beijing, Dr. Strangelove style. Blaine 20 says, speaking of haircuts, father files suit after Michigan teacher cuts his daughter's hair without permission.
This is an esoteric reference, but I think your stream will get it. So your Uncle John texted me when the thing on China, with Millie in China comes out, and it says, I hate to judge before all the facts are in, but it looks like the general exceeded his authority. Dr. Strangelove reference.
There you go.
So yeah, I texted back and said, you and I are probably the only persons in East Texas that get that reference, but there you go.
Chode motherfucker 69 says, the biggest takeaway from your argument with Vito was that it was so goddamn funny.
But at some point though, Nick, you are just bouncing the rubble. I mean,
oh yeah.
That guy was a dipshit. Good grief.
Yeah, still is. I mean, still is a dipshit.
What I thought was funny was, as is so tragic, is that, he obviously underestimated you. He obviously thought he was just going to come in and it was like watching a scientist, basically dissect an insect. It was very almost workmanlike in its technicality, if that makes any sense. You just kind of
Well, the problem with Vito is he did this stuff that people do. First of all, he demands qualifications and all of this stuff, and then he'll make an inane statement about himself.
Mm-hmm.
Vito is a fat, boring comedian. So when he says, "Oh, right," but when he says, "Oh, these people can't be giving medical advice; they're not qualified," then I file that and wait for him to say the inevitable stupid thing of, "I've read like a dozen studies," and it's like, "Are you a doctor? Do you have any training in this field?" Well, no. It's like, then how do you read a Like, I'm sorry. First of all, Vito has not read any medical studies. He may have skimmed an abstract somewhere. But if you are a layperson, you cannot understand a medical study. You will be so far out of bounds trying to read that thing that you might as well not even bother, unless you like have some sort of training in reading medical or scientific studies. If you're a fat, dumb comedian, you're not doing it.
Well, you left out Tattletale.
Well, yeah, too.
I mean, he's a piece of shit snitch, and we don't like snitches. Human beings don't like snitches. And instead of saying, you know what, I got carried away, I probably shouldn't have done that. No, he's going to double down and try to defend it. And it's like, the old snitches get stitches.
Yeah. Well, and then the other problem with it is like, he's like, well, when he's out there saying that, one, he was lying about what Alex Jones said. So that made it all the better. I didn't know that at the time. But he was lying about what Alex Jones said. I found that out the next day or the day after. But the other problem with that, though, is that he's like, look, the vaccines aren't liquefying people's organs. And he's like, I've read like a dozen studies. It's like, okay, which one said that they don't do that?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Well, you said you read it.
You want me to prove a negative? No, I just want you to prove what you said, dumbass. I don't care.
And the easiest thing in the world is just to pull up literally any of them. Like, that's the answer. Like, this one. Here's the study I read that says that this happened and this happened, this happened. It didn't mention that. Okay, cool.
It doesn't mention liquefying. Well, he didn't read the stuff. So Alex Jones didn't say that. Was he lying about that?
Yeah, what Alex Jones did was he was making a comparison about how he got on Sandy Hook, basically.
Okay.
So Alex Jones is talking about he doesn't mention Sandy Hook specifically, but this is what he's talking about. He's like, I got the CIA contact who's given me good information before, and he tells me this is a false event. It didn't happen. And blah, blah, blah. So I run with it. He's given me good information before. So I say, maybe these people aren't really dead. And then he points out the hypocrisy of, because he admits that he got that wrong. He's retracted that statement. He retracted that statement like over 2 years ago. And he said he was wrong and he fully believes Sandy Hook happened and all of that stuff. Then he goes on to say, but then what happens is we've got the left doing the same thing that they accuse me of doing when these people are dying from getting the vaccine, or, you have a doctor on a local news story saying that it liquefied a 39-year-old woman's internal organs. So he's referencing a specific news story. And then he's saying that people are saying, right. And he's saying that people are now saying that those are false claims in the way that they were saying that his claims about Sandy Hook's were false, but it's the same people doing the same thing. It's like, oh, the crisis actors can't exist over here, but they definitely exist over here. And he's pointing out a hypocrisy. He's not making a claim about the vaccines.
Let's hope that shithead gets a good solid dose of his own medicine. That's all. That's the universal solvent for this kind of crap.
Frisky Django says Vito's dad died today, unfortunately. So I've been laying off Vito bashing for the day. Well, there you go. Yeah. Unless he's lying, it was on his Twitter. I hope he wouldn't lie about that, and I'll send him some condolences, because that's a shit thing.
That's a shit thing, but it wouldn't surprise me if he is lying.
Yeah, I have no idea, but let's see. Blaine 20 says a TikToker.
Here's the thing: if your dad is dying of something, why the hell are you on a YouTube channel arguing about crap like that? Just thinking out loud here.
Who knows? Well, it doesn't say his dad. It doesn't say his dad died from COVID in the chat. I don't know if who knows what his dad died from, but Blaine 20 says a TikToker says she and her boyfriend picked up laundry while he was solo hiking at Grand Teton and gave him a ride. Link in DM. Laundry is the guy who definitely probably killed that woman in the YouTuber. So that's interesting. Philibooty says, did you cover the Hudson mayor demanding all school board members resign or face possible criminal charges? I just retweeted it at Philibooty. I haven't, but the mayor's wrong. The mayor's wrong on that one.
Yeah,
because
what was that? Yeah, they had
called it child pornography, and it was absolutely not child pornography.
No, it was disgusting and vile. But
but you're not going to get criminal charges on these people.
No, and you don't really help the cause by hysterically overreacting either.
Oh, Vito's dad died last year. This is just the anniversary of his death. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Oh, okay.
Robin H says, old white wolf Vampire the Masquerade. No V5.
I was never a fan of the sparkly vampire genre. As a game, vampires are evil. they're bad guys. I never hold with letting villains and become player characters. Plus
Mario,
the sheer mind-numbing pretentiousness of it. Sorry.
Mario Carter 13 says, Ron Paul, don't call it a tombstone. It's the future you chose. Mount Vailmore says, I'm way off. The girl was a domestic violence abuser that nearly got charged by the cops. That does not mean that the guy didn't kill her.
No, it doesn't.
Man, this dude went from his fiance, who after that domestic event, they both swore that they were still in love and just needed a cool down, and then that was a while back.
What was her name again?
Gabrielle Petito. He went from where his girlfriend his fiance allegedly was, 2,500 miles away in 3 days. Like that is monumentally fast. And I will be shocked if she is not dead by his hand.
5 days. What is it, 5 days in those mountains? I mean, I would think you'd die of exposure. I mean, the statistics are something like, is it 90% or some insane amount? When someone's killed, it's someone close to them, almost always a husband, a wife, or a boyfriend, girlfriend, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, so already it's probable, and then you add the circumstances, like, yeah.
Mr. Security. Okay. People are saying she cooled down to room temperature. She cooled down at the bottom of a lake. She cooled down like a corpse. Oh gosh.
Was that necessary?
Yeah. Let's see. Eldon Bainling says, Ty, how much to get hired and fired by you? It's a weird fetish.
It is, but we can talk. Business is business.
Shark Venture says, bumper sticker idea. Karens really don't.
I actually hate to fire people. It's without a doubt the most miserable. There isn't much miserable about my job. I really do like what I do, but firing people, I hate it. Even when they deserve it, I don't enjoy it. It's like, just get the hell out of here.
People keep saying it was her van. We don't actually know that was her van. I haven't actually seen that anywhere officially. I've seen a lot of people who have said that it's her van, and I said it was her van when the chat said it was her van, but I didn't read that in a news story or anything like that. I haven't seen that, and so I'm not actually sure that that's true. Let's see. Mr. Security said, I bought an AR stimulus check with AR-15 with your stimulus check too. Does that make me a bad guy? Hey, you liar. I did read that. You weren't
a hero.
You weren't listening. I said, yes, you are a bad guy. How dare you? But I did read that.
I think you're a hero. Anybody that buys a gun with a stimulus check is all right in my book.
Mr. Bentham says, wow, Nick, you're a real fan of Dune, unlike some lawyers. That's right. A real fan. Big Red Bear says, Ty, Interspecies Reviewers is about a guy having monster girls and then providing a review of how the sex was with them. Nick's laying a trap. Why would you guys do... I got him to write it down.
You didn't think I was actually gonna watch that, did you?
I thought you might... At some point, just Google it and get the splash page, which would have made me laugh enough.
Well, I'll tell you what. It seems like I shouldn't cheat you out of that. What's the name of it again? Tell me the thing.
Interspecies Reviewers.
Yeah,
I could just pull it up on stream.
Yeah, well, you could. It's your call. Go ahead. Thank you for having my back. I do appreciate that. But let's give Nick his moment.
Thanks, fun police. Let's see if I can find
listen, they were just trying to, keep me from retching or,
Here we go. Why would you retch? This is wholesome content right here. Here we go.
I'm still scarred from that video you and Drexel made me watch. Yeah, no.
You're not going to watch this?
No. Mm-mm.
What? That's the height of bigotry.
Yeah, no. You can take it down now. Yeah.
See, I was just trying to get that in your Google search history.
Someone here is saying we're trying to protect Ty's innocence. What is bizarre to me, guys, is I am hardly innocent in the ways of the world.
So
this is just a strange little world that y'all inhabit.
You are nowhere near hardly. You're not even close to the levels of degeneracy.
I have met accused murderers for lunch and talked to them about everything under the sun. Okay, I have gone to federal prisons to meet with clients because I handle their business legal matters. I am not a wilting flower, but you guys dredge up some scary shit.
You're
saying.
sitting here. You're trying to talk about all this normie stuff. Oh, what's
yeah.
a few murders and rapes in the world?
Yeah,
No.
I'm thinking, I walk on, I'm pretty hardcore here,
No, you got to have interspecies reviewers.
Balls or no, and balls or no balls. Like, what?
Where the male protagonists go to the one brothel where they give you a potion to turn you transgender so you can be the woman.
Oh, yeah. Is Funimation? Did they do that?
They did, actually. And then they canceled it after that episode in particular. And now no one can do the English dub of it because Funimation holds the rights.
Very interesting.
Yes. Phoenix Lord Asterman says, Ty, don't watch interspecies reviewers. It's a trap. Watch a wholesome family show like Bible Black. It is a solid English dub. See, there you go. A good Christian show.
I don't even want to know about that one.
Mandy Curvicia says, Nick, Ty, and Drexel in goth makeup for Halloween, please? No.
I don't do makeup.
Toeom123 says his dad died. I didn't know he was sick. Apparently it was a year ago. Sergeant McSalty says, Ty, no. It's hentai, like the balls or no balls. Troll all over again. No one important says, since
Thanks,
Ty is
guys.
here.
I appreciate it.
I don't appreciate you, chat. I'm very frustrated. I'm very disappointed in you. Since Ty is here, I'll update him from what I said. They have us checking in on these electronic passports in Cali on our phones. It's like sci-fi. Yes, the vaccine passport is attached to your phone in California, in LA now.
Oh, that's just, well, yeah.
Mr. Security.
California's just batshit crazy. I mean, they could have gotten rid of Governor Hairdo, and no.
Mr. Security says, sorry, I must have missed it. Here's some extra dosh. Yes, that's right. Apologize with money. I like this system.
That's a system I could get behind.
Baron Sky sent a chat, but there's nothing said on. Oh, wait, no, there is. Why isn't. Okay, we're almost done here. He says, as a runner, did you ever get chafing around your groin? Yes. Any tips? Yes. Go online. You can go on Amazon and buy D's Nuts. And that sounds like a joke. I think it's called D's Nuts. It's it's for biking, actually. Is that what it's called? Oh, shit. It's not called D's Nuts. It's something like D's Nuts. Fuck. What is it? Let's see.
Not corn nuts, is it?
No.
Sorry. Yeah. That was unnecessary.
Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. It's called something. It's a chamois cream for your fucking balls. I don't know how else to say it. But it's for cyclers. God, I'll have to.
Is it Deets Nuts?
It might be. It's something close to D. I thought it was literally D's nuts.
Are D's Nuts? Yeah, somebody's saying DEEZ. Or DZ Nuts.
No, there's
Wait,
no, it is DZ. It's DZ Nuts. Yeah. Yes, DZ
Nuts. That's too bad because I really liked anti monkey butt powder.
Here we go. It's here. I'll pull it up on screen. This stuff, I'll attest to it. It actually works really, really well. DZ Nuts, this stuff, and you just you apply it to your legs or whatever. Because if you wear certain type of pants or shorts, your thighs can rub together and chafe and shit. And you put that on there, and it helps a ton. It helps a ton. If you're running 10 plus miles, you definitely want to slather that all over yourself. So, but yeah, that's a real product, and it really does well. They should really sponsor this channel. I still have a tube of it upstairs. Nothing Raven says, doctor, follow CDC definitions. Sure, I'm vaxxed with no jab. Oh shit. I forgot to finish reading Baron Sky's chat. He says, I took preventative measures by deleting cloud scratchers and getting a vibrator with an off timer. Screw you for not playing new Discord video for Ty last time.
That's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, no kidding. Goodness gracious. Mario Carter 13 says, Blizzard called it. Do you guys not have phones? Samurai Knight says, I recommend redo of Healer to tie. It's a classic. It is. It is phenomenal. Mr. Security says, I resend my apology since it made you happy. And then I think, are we done? We are done.
This is some kind of personal best. Okay, poor choice of nouns. Some kind of record. We're only 3 hours and 26 minutes into the show, and we cleared the super chats.
Yes. Yes, we did. And I will give one final update on the GoFundMe. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. It is at $2,935.
That's very nice of you guys.
That is fantastic. So we got a bunch of donations coming in over the past couple hours. That's all you guys, and that is beautiful to me, and it warms my heart that you guys would.
It perhaps even warms the cockles.
I didn't want to say that, but
cockles,
I will.
Yeah.
I will. So it warms the cockles. So thank you guys, and I really do appreciate it. It'll mean a lot to my aunt. So who I only get to see like once every couple years. So it's nice to it's nice for that. So thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
I guess the woke court is adjourned until such time as you decide to reconvene it, Your Honor.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. And now I have to. I swore yesterday I would definitely do game night on Twitch tonight, and I am not waffling on that, so I will be on Twitch.
You're going to power through it, damn it. I admire you. I, on the other hand, am going to go to sleep.
I envy you.
Yeah. Well, I have been up since 3 this morning, and you've got the receipts, so I've been kind of.
That's true.
24
That's
hours,
true.
yeah.
I got up just before 11, and I did 2.5 hours of streaming.
Oh, that's Iron Man. I mean, golly.
Yeah, I was on Eric Hunley's show from 11 to about 1:30, and then I got done and started my show at 2:15 and went until 7:30, I think it was, something like that. And then now we did the 11 to 3 show.
You know what happens to me is I get excited about something I'm working on, and I'm doing a big merger and acquisition deal, and my brain just won't shut off. And finally, after that, it's like, crap. Tyler is not a huge city, so and right now at least my office is only 5 minutes away from the house. So, hell, get up, go to the office. When we move downtown, it'll be 10 minutes. So, it's not a big deal.
Mr. Bentham says, is this the same cream Drex used on his balls? No, that was a hair removal cream, and that was the stupidest thing I've heard of him do in a while since feeling up a tranny at Thad's or whatever.
I didn't need to know that. Actually, I didn't need to know either of those facts.
I don't know why someone in his Discord's like, hey, Drex, you can use this. It's like Nair for your man parts. And he's like, oh, yeah. And then he takes it and just does it. It's like, what are you doing?
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Terrible. It sounds fortunate like it didn't cause damage, but yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I haven't inspected anything.
Be careful. Yeah. Well, look, just be careful about your equipment. Okay.
Don't see the thing with the chamois cream or whatever for running. You don't rub it on your balls. You don't put it on your man parts. You wear nice running underwear that keeps things like that in place, but it's where the fabric is on your skin or where your skin rubs together as you're running for 10 straight miles. Like for me, if your running stride isn't like, I don't have super flexible hips, right? So my legs will run together as I get tired. And so as your thighs brush past each other 5,000 times, you'll start to get a little soreness on the inside of your
the friction thighs. Just from that is
so that's what you're rubbing it on your inner thighs. You're not rubbing it on your balls. That's Drexel put a cream on his balls. Terrible choice. What was he thinking?
I'm sure he appreciates you dissing him on this.
He deserves it.
But what are friends for?
I actually feel bad. He was gonna come out this weekend, but it's not actually a good weekend for it. So unfortunately, it'll be a little while before he's out again.
As always.
Will do. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us, and let me play a little outro thing, and then we'll see you guys later. Ty, don't leave just yet, but
Okay.
Catch you guys later in the chat. Peace.
Y'all take it easy.
Your Honor, I'm pretty sure we have a mistrial here, sir.
I'm gonna mistrial my foot up your ass. You don't shut up.